Alright guys, it's a Thursday, June 4th, 2026. How's everybody doing out there today? John here with you. I'm going to join Alec Nava in progress here in a moment. Let me get you through the starting lineups. So for John Tortorella's Vegas Golden Knights, it sounds like this: Jack Eichel, Ivan Barbashev, Pavel Dorofeyev, Braden McNabb, Shea Theodore. Rob Bell, Will Karlsson, Brett Howden, Mitchell Marner, Noah Hanifin, and Rasmus Andersen. Colton Sissons, Tomas Hertl, Mark Stone, Nick Dowd, Cole Smith, Keegan Kolesar with Jeremy Lozon, Dylan Coghlan. Carter Hart will be the goaltender of record today. And for the Carolina Hurricanes, they're down 0-1 in this series, head coached by Rod Brind'Amour. It's Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov, Seth Jarvis with Jacob Slavin and Jalen Chatfield. Logan Stankoven and Taylor Hall, Jackson Blake with Keandre Miller and Sean Walker. Jordan Staal, Nick Ehlers, Jordan Martinook, Mark Jankowski, Will Carrier, Eric Robinson with Shane Gostisbehere and Alex Nikishin. Freddie Andersen will be the goaltender of record. It is the same lineups from Game 1 carrying into Game 2 for both squads. As we sit in a season series summary so far, Game 1, Vegas won 5-4. Ehlers raced out to a 2-0 lead as he scored on a pair of breakaways and rushes up the shot and backhand. Theodore responds with a slap shot through traffic that gets past Karlsson. That was key as Vegas could have conceded much more. Vegas responded as Barbashev and Karlsson from the Marner pass early before the Jordan Staal tie shot from Keandre Miller. A Brett Howden tip and a Gostisbehere loose puck made it 4-4, but Tomas Hertl won the game off a sick backhand pass by Colton Sissons as he cut to the slot and scored inside the final 3 minutes. I noted that Vegas was able to breathe down the neck of Freddie Andersen all game. Carolina didn't cover the middle of the slot too well, which they had covered in the first 3 series. Hart was 23-27 in the win. His glove save on Jarvis against that created the Hertl goal moments later. We'll see what changes. Freddie Andersen wasn't very good, 18 of 23 in the loss. I expect Carolina to play much better. They've got to have Game 2. If they don't get that, they're going to be in dire straits. Let's join in with Alec Nava.
They stuck to the game's win, winning games 4, 5, and 7. 2-1 in game 5, 4-1 in game 7. Despite losing 5-1 in game 6. One game. And John, I know it may be kind of an awkward time to join along given the news that just broke out, but game 2, we don't expect game 1 the game 1 script to follow along on to game 2. It seems like a statistical anomaly. We were going to expect more defense in this game compared to game 1, aren't we?
I agree with you, Alec. A 5-4 result between Carolina and Vegas for two teams that are as good as they are. You got to expect much more defensively, and I did like the quote. Again, we talked about the glass half full approach. You mentioned that in the post game. Rod Brind'Amour said he would have felt a lot different if his team came out and played their best, but we know that they didn't, Alec. We know that they had a hard time covering the slot. Vegas was able to breathe down their neck, kind of create some of those opportunities. I expect Carolina to play much better today.
We would expect such. Game 1 is sort of knowing what team's strengths and weaknesses are. Vegas played less along the wall, work the puck to the slot. We expect Carolina to clog up the slot a little more. And especially knowing the Hurricanes have a reputation for adjusting on the fly. We expect those quick adjustments here in Game 2.
Yeah, you have to have that because, I'll be honest with you, Mr. Nava, again, I know you want to see the Carolina Hurricanes lift the Stanley Cup, and I wouldn't mind that either. But if they go down 0-2, and they have to go to Vegas on the weekend side and go back to Sin City, that's not going to be very good for them. I expect them to pull out all the stops. They've got to win this. It's about as early as a must-win as I can say, considering we're only Game 2 in the Stanley Cup Finals. But I think Carolina needs this desperately.
I agree with you there, John. This is a must-win for Carolina because you cannot afford to go down 2 games to none against the Vegas team that's peaking at the right time. People can talk about that they have less amount of wins as some of the other teams that missed the playoffs, including a banged-up Florida Panthers team that won 40 games, but they had more regulation losses than overtime than they would want. But no team can survive the amount of injuries as Florida had, as they lost to say the Panthers lost almost as... I'm having trouble saying words here. They lost the entirety of Gustav Borthwing's NHL career in terms of bad games lost in one season. You don't survive a year like that.
No, you don't. I don't blame you, Alec. I'm going to be all tongue-tied, especially because I know what we'll be talking about in the first intermission. So I know you'll grant me the graces for that. I want to get through this game and do everything as much as possible. And then once we get in the intermission, we can start to break down some of the other news, because I know everybody's going to want to ask my opinion, but I'm going to do my best here to make sure, alongside Alec, that we give you the best coverage that we can and throughout the entirety of the Stanley Cup Finals, because it deserves that much.
It does. And I know of the biggest news, it does involve the Red Wings, just to give a heads up. Though, yes, there's other news, such as the Oilers trying to work away on a potential Darnell Nurse trade, in addition to the Canadians wanting to dump off Brendan Gallagher as a pure cap dump.
Yeah, the pure cap dump, as we said a couple nights ago, I don't think is going to work out for Vancouver again in terms of what they already did for the Vander Kane. So I would say they're out. But yeah, you want to make sure that works out for Montreal to keep things going. And for Edmonton, for Darnell Nurse, Alec, it's about time they try to make something work.
And his contract at $9 million per year was holding the Oilers back, and the writing was soon to be on the wall. It was soon to be on his way out, and I feel that such a trade was going to speculate for months. But if you're going to move Nurse, you're going to have to attach several picks to get his services. And what irony would it be if he ends up at the team in which Edmonton got both Connor Murphy and Jason Dickinson, Chicago?
That might be a possibility, Alec. I don't disagree with you there. I'm kind of wondering what's going to end up happening as far as, we talked about the other day in the entry draft, what players might get moved, if there is any sort of thought to maybe trade anywhere within the top 5 picks. Obviously, I don't think Gavin McKenna is going to go anywhere. I think that would be a lock for Toronto. But I do think there might be a possibility certain other players get moved, and maybe ones that we expect to get drafted to certain spots, a la Stenberg, maybe in Vancouver. Might not end up being the case, but we'll see what happens when we get there.
We'll see. Coming on June 27th, the NHL entry draft, as we get some sound bites from John Tortorella. So regardless of what happens, how's he going to explain this to his now former ESPN co-workers?
I'm not sure how all that's going to work, but you know what? It's been a wild ride for John Tortorella. I would imagine Steve Levy and some of those other guys, that's the reason probably why they pick Vegas a lot, because you're working there. And that siren's starting to get sounded again, as I'm going to leave it the same way for you, Alec. I'll have you lead off and have you close, trying to get this series tied today.
Oh, and by the way, we spoke of Cam Ward being the siren sounder in Game 5. Well, he was the siren sounder 3 games early. Here in Game 2, he's the first of 3 siren sounders. Soon to come up are Antoine Jameson, former North Carolina college basketball star. And in the third period is Carolina Panthers general manager Dan Morgan. That's pretty cool. So you're holding out all the stops there. Again, I forgot about Mr. Jameson. It's been a while since I heard that name as well. I really love those uniforms that the Hurricanes end up getting out there with the black and the mix of that Canes colors there. I think they look very sharp. Yeah, the secondary logo? Yeah. It's a very nice touch given the outline, which is the shape of North Carolina. So, John, it's the same lineups as Game 1. Yes. We don't have any lineup changes, so Caden Korsak's not in the lineup. Dylan Cogwin is a +6 this postseason. And John Tortorella is so impressed with his play, they decided to keep him in the same pairing as Jeremy Lauzon. Do you have any concern? I know we talked about it in the Stanley Cup Finals preview, but again in Game 1, you didn't have any points in the top line forward there for Jarvis, Svechnikov, and Aho. They got to get on the score sheet tonight, don't they? That's the main storyline this entire postseason. The whole O-line has not been a concern, Though game one was an off game for them. I don't expect that happening again tonight here, John. But the Aho line, they need to get going, and badly. We said it time and time again, but their best showing was in the third round, the East Final against Montreal. Aho has 4 goals, but 2 of them were in the same game and on an empty net to seal the series against Ottawa. He has to get going. There were some individual moments in which they looked like their usual selves, such as the Svechnikov overtime winner. Jarvis almost had that last game with that one-timer, which he was robbed by Carter Hart. But outside that, there hasn't been a bunch of anything from this top group. There are moments in which the second line looked better than the first line.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And you said the same thing earlier, point about the goalies and Freddie Andersen, Carter Hart. Carter Hart, yes, he had that wonderful glove save and a beauty, which he caught on Seth Jarvis. But I would say even for Carter Hart, even though it's a win and you take it, both Andersen and Hart probably expected to have better games too. I don't think anyone liked their game one performances.
Oh, not the slightest, to be honest. Though he did say that some of the goals that Andersen allowed were not really his fault. Though Vegas is also doing a good job of exploiting his weakness, lateral movement, which it tends to get worse for goaltenders as they age. And Andersen's among the older side of goaltenders, more towards Bobrovsky's side.
If we're going to get a 5-4 from game one, would you think about a 3-2 tonight?
Bonus points if it's a Carolina win in overtime, because all the overtime games have resulted in a Carolina win and a 3-2 final score,
Okay.
John.
All right, that's what I'm going with as well, my friend. I think we got the nail and the lockstep here. We'll see what we get. Again, we know how important this is. Again, I'll say it once more. Carolina's got to win this game today if they want to have any chance in this series. Yes, they have not lost the game on the road so far in the postseason, but I think at some point that is going to turn.
They're going to be put to the test here against a Vegas team that, of course, has a superstar talent to back them up. Both Jack Eichel and Mitch Marner. Eichel and Marner each had assists in game one, as we see Freddie Andersen, who's getting his 100th career playoff start. Can you believe he's almost spent half of his postseason career with the Carolina Hurricanes already?
It's hard to believe, but he's playing the best hockey of his life. We see what we'll get here in Game 2 at Lenovo Center. Alec Nava is going to lead it off. My name's John. We got Ian Genge in the building here with us as well. We'll have plenty to get to in the first intermission, but for right now, let's concentrate on this game, and we'll see what the jerseys in black can do. Again, Alec mentioned it right. The heels of the league in the Vegas Golden Knights looked very good, able to control the slot and get some key goals when they needed to, especially with Tomas Hertl late. But now we'll see what changes. You take it away.
Johnny Bear drops the puck and we are underway for Game 2. Vegas took the first game 5-4. Carolina's looking to even it up. Vegas trying to put a stranglehold and steal home ice. It's the Air Jordan line against the Eichel line. And here's Ehlers on the fly. He beats out Theodore to the puck and nullifies the icing. Barbashev gets to the puck. Right circle, Jordan Staal is there. Eichel does get it out on his backhand. 2-on-2 comes Vegas. Chatfield says no sir to Barbashev. Behind Andersen's crease, it comes down far corner. Long jam at the left circle. Staal gets it out with some help. Did he ice this? Yes, he did. Andersen gets to it.
Just a little bit of a curl there as the first set of 40 seconds expire. Again, Rod Brind'Amour had talked about with his group, you clean up a little bit of things. You kind of have some of those feelings from game one. I know the score line wasn't that much different as far as worse between Montreal, but you know you can clean up some things and try to go back to work with the same lines.
It is the Air Jordan line winning this face-up. Ehlers has Marner just right, instead decides to shoot it towards Hart's right, picked up by Marner at the near corner. Ehlers towards the net, no rebound, but picked up by Walker. Shot went wide of Hart towards his left. Stankoven active on this forecheck. Andersen gets it away from him and past the right point. Foot race for this puck. And it's Keandre Miller canceled out by Mitch Marner. Far corner, Howden got to the puck. Poked away, far corner again. William Karlsson and Brett Howden both jumping after it. So is Keandre Miller behind the net. He gets stick lifted. Wild Bill onto it. Howden hunted down by Stankoven. Miller also jumping to it, and it's Marner on the takeaway. Marner, turnaround shot, and an early pass saved by Freddie. Back around down low, picked apart by Carolina. They get some reinforcements on the ice now as Jackson Blake buys Taylor Hall. This entire line was blanked in game 1 in what could be considered an off game for this second line. Picked up by Slavin across the ice for Jalen Chatfield. Chatfield sends it in deep from the far side. Brandon McNabb with 3 assists, a career high in any game, regular season or postseason, is descended for the front, but is blocked. And McNabb has played 1,005 career games, regular season, and playoffs. Chatfield sends it to Svechnikov. Here's Aho. This line has to get going, and desperately so. Aho falls down. Sends this back over to Slavin, and now here's Aho again. Backhand pass to Svechnikov was cut off. Coghlan, a former Hurricane, Sashay says down the wing to Cole Smith. He too falls down, and now allows Chatfield to exit the zone. And Jarvis gets tripped. Penalty is going to come against Vegas, and that's the most obvious tripping penalty there is.
It's going to be Dylan Coghlan going to the box. Again, a little bit of banana peels all over the ice early, but it gives Carolina an opportunity to get something going here. As you talk about McNabb and Theodore, that would be another one of those ones you want to shut down on the first line. Alec, they combined for 6 points on the back end.
A goal and 5 assists between the two of them combined, John, in game 1. But Vegas' penalty kill, they've been so good this postseason. Their net penalty kill rate is 96%.
Yeah, and I really didn't see a lot of shots. I don't think he went 0 for 2 to start for Carolina. They didn't even have any shots when they first had those power plays. You see what they can change here.
And make no mistake, these are the 2 best penalty kills in the postseason if you talk about net penalty killing rate. Carolina's number 2 by penalty kill rate, period. Vegas is number 5. Only Boston is better, and we wonder how much is because of Buffalo's power play having some difficult setups. 12.1% this postseason is Carolina's power play after being 24.9% in the regular season. Vegas allowed 6 power play goals, but they have scored 4 shorthanded goals. It's a duality. Across the ice for Nikishin, who's injured on this power play. Wait, go Hall! Shut down by Hart. The puck comes loose in the near corner where Hall picks up his own rebound. Back for Nikishin, who's inserted back onto this power play unit, subbing in for DeAndre Miller. Nikolai Ehlers with it. Top of the right circle. Boxed out by Nick Down. He'll instead go back for Nikishin. Nikishin. Sharp angle for Blake. On the left circle. Survey. Still looking for shooting lane. There was a stick in the way. Stankovic still gets to it. High rolling puck. Intercepted by Colton Sissons. And it will go all the way down, and Freddie Andersen will come up behind it into the play as Sissons makes his way to the bench. Gostisbehere, the top hitter out there, Nikolai Ehlers is double shifted. And sometimes you would see some of the top players get double shifted. We've seen this at times with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl over the last 2 years. As Svechnikov didn't find anybody in slot, and Vegas will send this all the way down. There's like a bunch of nothing at this Carolina power play. There's no queen entries and no queen looks. This is a good job by Vegas penalty kill. Here's Svechnikov, chance behind the fence. Svechnikov sends this one wide. One of the few quality chances that Carolina's had on the man advantage, but you take what you can get. Here's Gostisbehere as he wakes up and surveys. Mitch Marner is on the ice at the same time. He'll drop this one back, and it is Ehlers. Ehlers goes across the ice on a cross-border dump-in. Very auspicious clear, but a second effort worked, not before it goes out of play.
A couple of those passes there. Svechnikov, he just misses a chance, and then his wrister goes on the backhand pass, I should say, right down for an easy clear. As you mentioned, not a shot on goal there, despite for Taylor Hall near the left dot, who Carter Hart came over, able to catch that one in between the armpit near the left post, but that was the best chance they had.
It was, not to mention a Svechnikov chance that couldn't go all the way. And Hall was sitting at 5 goals in the playoffs after having 18 in the regular season. He's one of their main guys. Here's Chatfield off the draw, and he fires this wide. From the far side, Vegas gets another clear. This will likely run out the rest of their power play as Dylan Coghlan steps up at the penalty box. Chatfield is back, and Coghlan's out. So Vegas gets the first save on special teams. From the near side, it is Hall. As Vegas killed 14 of their last 15. They're 88% in this postseason, 96% net rating. Slavin sends this down the near side. Hart will lead this over far corner for Dylan Coghlan. Played over to the left point, or it's held in by Slavin again. Slavin over to Blake. Jackson Blake behind the net. Blake onto the far corner, working with this one. Blake whips around the pass, goes down low, but there was nothing doing on that reception. And Vegas will go back, bouncing up is intercepted, and the Canes will get a clear, and they'll get a line change out. Theodore, the new man on the ice for Vegas, he had a goal and 2 assists. His lone goal was a shot that deflected off the leg of Eric Robinson in Game 1, and up the far side is Keandre Miller receiving this. From the far half boards, Carolina trying to get some numbers. Pass behind the fence didn't work, and the Knights will move it up. Down the near side, Jordan Staal is there. Barbashev will go left side. Now sends around the boards. On to the near half boards now as Carolina sends this down to distance off original misfit William Carrier. Lazan intercepted on the clear, but gets some help. Up the middle. Down to the right, Rasmus Andersen overskated. Stone helps him out. Andersen's tied up. Wraparound try! And that's knocked away off several sticks, including Robinson. Rasmus keeps it in. On to the far corner with Vegas hounding down the puck. Robinson gets it out. Has the puck. Jammed up for Mark Jankowski, and Robinson with the second ever will send this down the leg. A shot apiece for both teams as the Canes get this in deep onto the far corner. Robinson's tied up. Stone puts this over the far side, and this will roll to the Carolina end. Vegas will make changes. The Ghosts on the ice. 5 shot attempts for the Canes. Vegas is just 1. Look out! There was a collision near the Carolina bench. Colasar was involved. And onto the far corner of this dump is recollected by the Canes. Gostisbehere gets hounded down. And it's Cole Smith who sends this towards the far corner. Colasar left this for Dow, the former Washington Capital. Theodore's long shot blocked. And he'll come over to Colasar, who plays around for Dow. Then Dow back to the left point. Another one-timer went wide. And this will be collected on the near half boards. And on the chase down is Seth Jarvis, who will collect it right behind Hart. But now racing back, Jarvis whips one around, gonna reach Jordan Staal. And they go to the Knights. Get this to center. Cole Smith sends this down the leg. Sean Walker has the penalty box doors. Staal wanted to find Marner, but he gets sandwiched along the near half boards. Up the far side, Marner gets pushed. And William Karlsson gets dispossessed of the puck by Keandre Miller. On the near side, Marner up the middle. Wanted Ehlers. Couldn't find him. Hart sees it, grabs it, hangs on.
And if he wasn't forced to hang on there, Alec, he would still keep going. He'd done a good job there. Not much has happened as far as the chances, but I would say, gentlemen, this is probably what we expected here in Game 2. It feels like defensive chess.
No part does. At 12:23, it left in this first period. Turns out we're not getting an ice. It might be an ice scrapage, but we're staying with the live feed from ESPN. Emily Kaplan is profiled with Andrei Svechnikov. Now we're getting to the ice scrapage.
Yeah, we're going to take it now, as it is 5 hits to 2 for Carolina, just the 1 shot, just the 2 face-offs apiece. 0 for 1 Carolina with just the 1 shot on the power play, as we finally go to commercial break at 12:23 in a scoreless game.
Well, I have to say, for those who think that the ratings are going to go down this season, well, here's some numbers, John. 4.8 million viewers in Game 1, which is the most watched Game 1 since the Bruins-Blues Stanley Cup Final in 2019.
Yeah, I would say for anyone that had Game 1 as an appetizer to see the amount of goals, again, we didn't expect the 9, but again, that was about as good as it gets for an opener here. And you really get a chance to say, these are the 2 best teams that are in the NHL right now playing in the Cup Finals, in my opinion. I think we saw that there in Game 1, and it's going to kind of hold steadfast here throughout, no matter how long the series goes.
And even for one of these 2 teams winning or losing the Stanley Cup, no matter the outcome, these 2 teams, we can safely say that with the Panthers getting healthy for next season, both teams are already on the clock.
Yeah, you're right, because I think, as you mentioned, with Barkov, you have a healthy Kachuk, the rest of the team. Well, again, it's like a wasted year for Florida, considering all the injuries and things that they have, but I agree with you. You have every retrospect to believe that they're going to be back again. And yeah, they are on the clock. It's kind of like the situation you can say with Michael Jordan taking that semi-retirement, then you get the Houston Rockets. So you might as well get your championships while you can, because Florida's still got a couple more seasons at least.
So we can discuss this more at the intermission, because Florida does have the 9th pick, and they have several interesting routes that they can take. Whether they trade the 9th pick for someone who can help them now, or draft someone who can help them both now and in the future.
Yeah, you're in a pretty good situation, honestly, if you are the Panthers.
Off this face-off as Jacob Slater, long one-timer went wide. Hart picks it up on the rebound. Marner's there. Up moves to the blue paint, and Hart sees it on the way. The referees see that he has it.
It took probably about 6 seconds too long for number 79, but he makes the save, and then he scurries away from the scrum in front of his goal crease. But that was the first big time where he had to step up at 12-14, just coming back from break, and he did.
Of course, most of these goals that we're going to see, John, is not going to be the pretty goal, but I feel the first line for Carolina is trying to do too much of the pretty stuff. You have to get greasy in the playoffs.
Yeah, you said it absolutely right. That's what you want to see. You had Martinook on the ice there, but that's what you want to get from that first line when they come back out there. Get to the net. That's how you score goals in the Stanley Cup Finals, let alone at any point in the playoffs. You got to make your opponent work.
And speaking of greasy, he shots. There's Nikolai Ehlers deflecting Jacob Slavin's point shot. He's back on the fence with Slavin as Eichel works towards the front. Pass back for Dorfman, and he gets knocked loose to the puck. Gets it back as Eichel. Nobody is in the slot, and Theodore had to go back to this puck to get it from Carter Hart, as it was last touched by one of the Vegas players. Banked off the near boards on the glass, and the Hurricanes knocked this one away. Rushing back is Keandre Miller. Miller picks this up, and he'll go coast to coast with this puck down the near side. Whips it in from the penalty box doors. Svechnikov is after it on the poke, keeps it in. Not before Codwin touches up. And Codwin holds onto it near side. Will initiate the bank pass. Up the far side, nothing doing for Vegas. And Miller will sashing this towards the front. On the turnover, here's Mitch Marner. And William Karlsson gets knocked away at the puck. 3-on-2 on the way back for Carolina. On the trailer, nothing there, and Seth Jarvis had it knocked loose from it. Svechnikov to the front, and that's stopped by Hart. One of the few great chances the first line has had in this postseason, but you get your chances when you can have them. Marner after Jarvis sticks lift him. Teammates of Team Canada in the Olympics, and it looks to be a bump on the far side. No arm up in the air, we stay 5-on-5. We're supposed to be interference. 10:45 left in the first. The first period's done. 2 goals in the first half of the first period, both from Nikolai Ehlers. So far, we're scoreless here as Mark Stone knocks away that puck. The bird laying out there for the Golden Knights. Stone, it gets intercepted and knocked away. Stankoven and Blake. Stankoven rushing to the front. Blake sends to the trailer. Good stick to knock that out, but Blake keeps it. Deflection. Oh! And Hart stops that. Captain of the left point. Here's Blake. Steps into it. Across the ice. Stankoven. Glove saved by Hart. And Lazon gets this all the way down. And Jacob Slavin will pick it up from his own zone. And this is the second line that Canes fans want to see from the whole Stankoven and Blake line. How outstanding they've been this postseason. Halfway mark of the first, shots are 6-1 Carolina. On the near side, Eric Robinson gets knocked away. It's a legal body check as Theodore goes across the ice for McNabb. Up the middle. Down gets bumped off the puck. The Keishan also there. Vegas reclaims it. And it's a dumped in all the way towards the near corner. It'll be played by the Canes. And it's a rattling puck back towards the Vegas zone. McNabb beats out William Carrier towards the puck. Carrier and Eric Robinson both jab away at the puck at the far corner. Theodore also there. Jumping onto his Gostisbehere. Setting hard. And it's poked loose by Theodore behind the net. Robinson active. So is Staal as he takes it away. On the far corner, shoved by Kolesar. Back for Ehlers. Nikolai Ehlers goes across the ice. Took a while to reach Gostisbehere. He waits from the near half boards. Goes back to the point. Ehlers a long blast. Bouncing puck. And there is a Golden Knight who's down. That is Brandon McNabb. And Vegas players calling for a penalty. They will get it. And McNabb stopped in the dressing room.
Yeah, McNabb got hit right in the bridge of his nose with the vulcanized rubber. A sacrificial block after a very elongated possession. in around the corners nicely for the Carolina Hurricanes. They were creating a ton of pressure. We'll see if this little bit of pause in the action kind of relieves that there. But Gostisbehere has been good in this series so far as well, with a couple of short side chances and the deflection attempt that you saw from Ehlers, but right in the mouth, pretty much on the bridge of the nose, as he drops like a sack of potatoes.
So, excuse us, that is not a penalty, but rather that McNabb needed medical attention and the officials blew the play dead for precautionary measures. There will be no penalty here.
So, yeah, we will see what ends up happening from that cycle and pressure, because honestly, that's a bad time for a commercial break. I know it's needed because of the injury, but Carolina, they were starting to hum a little bit, Alec.
Yeah, they were. That was such a just in case that there was going to be a penalty, but none is called. And in such a case of a penalty, as we mentioned at 5-on-5, Carolina has to clog up the slot. Man-on-man defense has been their specialty as they continue rotating around being active. They have to clog up the slot to prevent anybody from getting a deflection at the net front should a penalty be called.
Yeah, you have to be able to do that. Again, that was too much in Game 1 where they were able to attack and do whatever they wanted to, Vegas. Carolina's got to make that adjustment as we move forward.
So, I actually got to do something cool just now. Tom Grossi was in town. Got to go to his event.
Oh wow, it's Tom Grossi, the legend himself.
Yeah.
It's nice that you got to go and see his event.
Yeah, that was awesome, but man, I get back in the car, turn on Twitter, and first thing I see on my notifications. We can get into it at the break, or maybe not, but John, you have my string.
I appreciate you, my friend. I said I promise I will talk about that in the first intermission. I could be the witness, and you guys can badger me with all the questions. I promise.
All right, hey, so here we can do this. McNabb, a Stanley Cup champion, 3 years ago, he's part of the original Misfits. Has spent 14 seasons, 9 of them with the VGK, originally a member of the Los Angeles Kings. The fourth line out there to take this face out against Vince's fourth line between Carolina and the Knights. It'll be William Carrier, another original Misfit. He'll lose it to Nick Dow, though Dow's one of the better face-off men in the NHL. Racing back is Gostisbehere to pick this one up. This is the best offensive defenseman step for Carolina out there on the ice between Gostisbehere and Nikishin. By the penalty box scores, the only shot on goal that Vegas took came a minute 27 into this game as Dow says the length of the ice from the Carolina blue line. Nikishin, chased down by Cole Smith, gets away from him. Nikishin to the middle, jumps around one of the Vegas defenders, and sends this behind Hart. Andersen places to Andersen, who gets tied up. Joining in on the forecheck is Robinson, and is poked free over to Andersen. Noah Andersen backhands this towards Keegan Colasar. There's a broken stick on the ice. Picked up down by Gostisbehere as Carolina and Vegas make changes. Back towards the far side, taken in by Jordan Staal. Righty shake Theodore. Pause. Staal goes back towards the left point. Where is Slavin? Slavin down low for Ehlers. And from Marner get bounced up. It's kept alive over to Ehlers. There was a Vegas player in the way, but Ehlers picks it up. Ehlers rotates around. Past the broken stick. Ehlers a long shot tipped, and that's wide. Activating is Slavin. Will feed it for Staal. Vegas gets this out. It'll be played over to the Carolina blue line. Vegas has to change quickly because Ehlers is back. Long slap for turned away by Hart. Ehlers sends this towards the far half boards over to Chatfield. Same defense pairing is out there for Carolina as Ehlers keeps it. Theodore plays this one through, and it will be moved up towards the near side, or rather far side, to Jack Eichel. Eichel across the ice for Barbashev. Barbashev in front, blocked there by Slavin. It'll be Dylan Chatfield. Slavin walking the tip in by Thorfinn, who'll be getting a bag this summer. He's a restricted free agent. Hall sends this deep. It'll be ice, as it was not sent in by Hall past the blue line, or red line.
6 shot attempts already for Nick Ehlers, and it's 7:15 left to go in the first. That one was an old-fashioned hold the B or hold the circle button, depending on your controller. You just let the slap shot go. I don't mind that for Nick Ehlers. You have the confidence. You scored 2 goals in Game 1. You got things started, which got the house rocking at Lenovo. Keep it going, Nick Ehlers.
That's why you paid the big bucks in the summer if you're Carolina. And it's a good thing that Carolina is giving him actual minutes, as he was misutilized in Winnipeg, you can argue. Up the near side, off Freddie's clearing attempt is successful with help. Down the middle it is Stankoven. Stankoven blocked by Andersen, a former Hurricane. Karlsson can't play this one out. Stankoven kept it in with some help. Hall, long shot, deflected up high, still in play off the boards. From the near side, this is Blake beating Stankoven. Back for Hall on the left circle. Hall, one too many bodies. Stankoven, loose in front. Picked up by William Karlsson as he keeps away from Hall. 71 on 71. Bench Marner. A rainbow clear, and it's Brett Howden behind the defense. Howden scores! His impressive postseason continues. Brett Howden with his 12th.
The 12th goal of the playoffs already for Brett Howden. What an absolute killer that is for Carolina. Second and third line all over Vegas. They have just one shot, and that rainbow clear, as you called, who's the one that started the hand grenade from Mitch Marner, and it beats it over the bottom shoulder of Freddie Andersen. My goodness.
Hey Rangers, Maple Leafs. Hey, you may want to look away. You might just want to stop because you're too big cast off. Because Toronto, your big cast off, and Rangers, one of your many cast offs, are killing it right now.
Not to mention that Theodore was the only player on this team that to be drafted by them on this current core has 10 goals. He's going to be an RFA this summer. We don't know what exactly he's going to be, but it would be a mistake for Vegas to let him walk, whether it be a trade or an offer sheet. Now it's up the middle. Carolina on a 3-on-2 counter. Here's Metzikov across. One-timer. Big save, Hart. Rebound. Oh, my goodness. Another great stop by Carter Hart. Oh, man. You want to wonder why the first line isn't scored yet? Carter Hart is why, as he loses his stick and this puck goes out of play. And Sebastian Aho has to be shaking his head.
I got to see if that second one was indeed stopped by Hart, but he goes over and hugs the captaincy and Mark Stone. We should be able to get a look at this now. They're going to show the Howden goal first after he was getting away from the top of a stick chop. Are we really not going to see that? Come on, ESPN. What are we doing?
Oh my gosh. ESPN and their broadcasting woes.
Alright, hopefully when we come back I can break it down. I was fully expecting to talk about Hart's couple of saves, but we'll just cut right to commercial. My goodness, come on now.
From the live look, we can say this: the man stops a one-time, a screaming one-timer from one Hurricanes player, and then Aho comes in to deliver the follow-up blow, but Hart's able to stretch his body and knock that one down. You know what? He's playing like the best goalie in the playoffs. He is the best goalie in the playoffs.
That's what I said in the series against Colorado, Ian, and I had no regrets saying it. I thought he played like an MVP. I thought he needed to be able to do that for Vegas to be able to advance to get to the Cup final. And one of those ones you saw there now, like Alex said, Sebastian Aho's got to be exacerbated. You're wondering what the heck else he can do if not for that defense, but Carter Hart being that back end last line that you need. He's getting the job done right now.
Yeah, Carter Hart, of course, did get the job done with that scrolling save from right to left out of ESPN is back. We need to see a replay because what in the wide world? Any goaltender who's in the net would normally not stop that.
Yeah, we're hoping to get to it now. Again, we're just getting some of this stuff with Brett Howden. The goal's nice, but but I want to see the other part of it because this should absolutely be a 1-1 game right now. And I guess we're just going to go right back to game action. Maybe they'll show it when we get to the intermission.
Oh, come on, as we get back into
That's
that,
crazy, Alec.
Oh my goodness, what is going on here? And now it's deflected up apart. Brett Howden with 12 goals. He's one away from Jonathan Marchessault from setting the all-time franchise record in goals in a single postseason as his ice. But it's nice to have some company with Jonathan Marchessault should Howden reach that benchmark.
Yeah, and I still can't believe it. I know it's been a few years now, but you thought, especially with Stamkos, but even with Jonathan Marchessault in Vegas, someone that would never leave.
You think? Oh my goodness. But with that free agency class in 24, do you think that Vegas would want to, I don't know, open some of the bank up? And I know that they were up against the cap because of the Mark Stone injury, but the reality was that they were going to either lose one or both of Marchessault and or Chandler Stevenson because as they did acquire Tomas Hertl. Now a whistle is blown here. Colton Sissons is having a word with linesman Trent Noor.
Yeah, we're going to get a penalty against Colton Sissons.
Yep, he's going to the box. 2 minutes. Robbie.
So second power play opportunity for the Carolina Hurricanes. They had the one shot with Taylor Hall. They've had a majority of this first where they had some good pressure, and that is just a very late needless hit on Keandre Miller.
Up high, too.
Go ahead, Ian. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and not to compound that, John, the hit was also high near his head, so that probably went into the penalty decision. Carolina, this is your second power play, and for the series, you're 0-3.
And they only have 6 power play goals all postseason, which can compound the trouble as Stan Coleman gets ran over. Freddie Andersen has to come out. He says, never mind. Cole Smith reaches it. He's out there nicked out along the forward side on the penalty kill. Stan Coleman drops back onto the far side, and Nikisha will wait up. Jordan Staal's off the ice. He is replaced by Nikolai Ehlers, who's usually on this power play group. Nikisha drops, and here's Stan Coleman leading away. He's side by side with Ehlers. Finds him. Ehlers trying to split the defense, and this will go out to center ice, staying in play. Nikishin going to Jackson Blake. Nikishin waits before the drop. Instead keeps. Now drops it off for Ehlers. Ehlers gains his own. Double team as he senses one around the end, points onto the right side for Blake. Blake, tic-tac-toe over to Nikishin. Saucers one over to Hall. Hall across. Blake, a little too hot, but decides to go to Ehlers. Nikolai Ehlers and Jackson Blake trade points along the far half boards. Here's Blake as he cuts behind the net. Blake to Hall as one-timer went wide. Puck bouncing behind the net. And it comes down to Vegas. And here's the long clear, which is successful. 6-2 the shots in favor of the Canes. But it was on one of those shots in which Vegas has scored. 1-0 Golden Knights. That's from Brett Howden on a breakaway. Sebastian Aho dumps this down the far corner where Hart keeps this one alive. You want to keep this alive to kill off some more time. 17 seconds left on this penalty as Jarvis had it knocked away by Mark Stone. Jarvis tried to steal it back and does. Jarvis, Aho, Sebastian Aho moves it up. Near side, Nikolai Ehlers. Ehlers, Aho on the pickup behind Hart. Now back to the left side for Ehlers. Sissons back on the ice. Gostisbehere rips one. Loose towards the far corner. This puck was not deflected on goal. Spencer Kopp gets stick lifted. Onto the near side. Colton Sissons back onto the ice. As he moves one up, there is an option going towards the slot that's no one had it been. Jacob Slavin laid out a stick. One shot on 4 power plays in this series for Carolina. That's not going to get it done against Vegas' VGK. 2:50 left in the period. Brett Howden the only goal. Waiting is Shane Theodore. Theodore up the far side. Could not be grabbed by Tomas Hertl. Played to the line but not out. Long shot went wide. It'll be collected up at the near half boards as Marner got reverse hit by Hertl. Dorfiev on the key pass Staal. Staal boxing out Dorfiev. County is coming up against Carolina. Way back out for Theodore as he fakes. Now wrist one from the point. It'll be collected up towards the near corner by Dorfiev. Bouncing puck, settled down by Lausanne, and as Slavin touches up, we'll get the call.
And Vegas again, only 2 shots from that hand grenade pass that was lofted from Howden to Marner. Now the captaincy and Staal goes to the box. Carolina has to kill this penalty now.
Always one of the better penalty killers on Carolina, which makes this kill all the more important. He's caught 2 minutes for holding, so now the emphasis is much more clear that killing this penalty will be important to gain momentum because the Canes, having one of the best penalty kills in the NHL, they need to have this 92% this postseason. But a both start against Hertl is going to put Eichel on the dot. It's a 5-4 group. Hertl, Eichel, Stone, Dorfield, and Marner, who is acting as the de facto defenseman in this 5-man unit. 4 power play goals for Dorfield. It'll be Jankowski and Martinook to start this out. From the far side, collected by Marner off the face-off win. Sending this down behind Andersen as Staal gets shoved by Walker onto the far side. Eichel back for Marner. He fakes. That wrist one right off of Walker. Jack Eichel recollects. Back for Marner. Marner to the front. Hertl. Braid is back for Marner. Eichel doesn't shoot it. Top of the left circle. Marner to the front for Hertl. High swap. Back for Eichel. In front is Stone. Stone's shot blocked. That was a shot pass. And Carolina sends this to length. 1:45 left in the first. Vegas' power play 0-3 in game 1. 22.4% this postseason. And Carolina's penalty kill 92.9 this postseason. Aho sends this to length. It'll be collected up by Marner. Conn Smythe drove beat front runner. It'll be sent back for Eichel. Marner's last goal came in the Anaheim series. He did not score in the Colorado series as this pass went towards the far outboards for Dorfield. 1 minute guard the penalty. Hertl delivering this for Stone. Stone goes down low for Eichel. Forced away by Slavin. Marner just kept it at the left point. Here's Hertl. Had it knocked away, is picked up by Aho. Up the far side, 2-on-2 comes Carolina shorthanded. Aho takes his time of it, loses it, and instead decides to kill off some more time. Aho gets sent down the ice. As Marner will touch up, waiting for reinforcements. Theodore out as the second power play quarterback. Mitch Marner moves it up, working on Martin Jankowski. Marner will drop and head to the bench. William Karlsson up the middle. Andersen out there. Rasmus Andersen, that is. Around the boards over to Ivan Barbashev. 19 seconds left. On this penalty is sent to Howden. Howden tied up behind the net. Carolina will clear this one down. 10 seconds left on this power play before Jordan Staal returns. Hart directs this to the far corner. Howden left this behind over to Theodore. 2 seconds of 1, and Jordan Staal is back on 17 in the period. Off the far side, delivered back by Vegas, but they can't get much out of this, and this will be sent to the Vegas end. The Golden Knights are intent on running down the rest of this clock, or rather get one last rush down to the near side. Carolina trying to force an icing, which they do at 2.7.
I'll say that honestly for Carolina, good job on the kill, but too much window dressing for me. Maybe that happens because of the Brett Howden goal, but they had some opportunities to shoot the puck out. They elected not to. Carolina gets a chance for a key draw just before the end of the first frame.
A key draw, and the Hurricanes are electing to keep Freddie Andersen in the crease. It'll be the second line out there for the Canes. All Stankoven and Blake tie up, and Vegas wins it to prevent one last shot. And that last one came after the whistle. Keandre Miller was the one taking, and predictably, Vegas has some words for Miller, namely Ivan Barbashev, who blocked that shot in front. They're not happy, and it's one of those unwritten rules in the NHL to not take a shot after the green light comes on.
Yeah, Barbashev just didn't want to end up with another snake bite toward the back of his skates there, because those ones hurt. Look, this time in the first period, Vegas has a lead rather than being down 2-1. But in some instances, Mr. Nava, this period feels like another good one for Vegas in the mix of, hey, we didn't get a lot of shots, just 2 in fact, but we got 1 goal. Kind of feel like we have this game right where we want it. Because there was about 6 or 7 minutes, as we talked about earlier, toward the middle of the frame, where Carolina had some pretty good elongated puck possession. I didn't know what happened after, if McNabb came back out on the ice. Right now it's still at 5:39 of ice time, so I don't think he's returned back from the injury, but I do think we might see him from the start of the second period if they can get those stitches and repairs done.
But that can return if those stitches come on time. Remember that he took that puck towards the mouth, which is an ugly sight. But wishing the best for him no matter what. Second most goals in franchise history for Brett Howden in a single postseason, and those 2 shots that Vegas took in the first period is a postseason low.
Postseason low, but yet as we said, they have a 1-0 lead after 20. And that's the kind of stuff that you think about. I'm going to go ahead and give you some of the warm and fuzzy numbers and type stuff up, and then I'll let you guys grill me if you want to as far as the topic of the day. But it's 7-2, Carolina with the shots. Hits, 16-10. It was a very physical game from the first, as we've talked about. Face-offs even at 7 apiece. Both teams scoreless on their power play. Carolina 0 for 2, Vegas 0 for 1.
And also remember, Vegas is 7-1 when scoring first this postseason. They're comfortable playing from in front, but as we said previously, they're comfortable playing from behind. Now, as we noticed, as we're in the intermission, news of the day, and this was a block. There was a breaking news that came out, and which we didn't expect. But the frustration is mounting, and it seems it came to a point where he had enough. Dylan Larkin has requested a trade from the Detroit Red Wings, and immediately you can see the armchair GMs at Puckpedia wanting to create hypothetical trades.
So, which way do you want to go about this, boys? Do you want me to give you the emotional answer, the organizational answer, just any of the thoughts that hit the top of your mind?
Here's an idea, John. Give us the answer that won't get you. Give us the answer that won't get you in trouble, but take it as far as you think you can.
Okay, so I probably will take it much farther when we get to the free agency frenzy at this point, but let's be honest. We talked about this situation from the very beginning of the same point last season when you thought about Mitch Marner, correct? It wasn't working out in Toronto. You couldn't build out some things for him. I'm going to move to Vegas, and now I'm in the Stanley Cup Final. I saw a lot of stuff from the Red Wings fans today say that Dylan Larkin is used garbage, and we know what garbage is already, correct? Saying that he essentially has no value, they're going to kick him to the curb, all the stuff is all his fault. And I will say this to you, yes, he is a large part of the reason why the team collapses in March. But where the hell was Lucas Raymond? Moritz Seider was able to step up a little bit, but he had his big propensity toward the end of the year, and they didn't have it. Patrick Kane, I know, is slowing down, but you can't expect that to all be on him. Hell, the only blameless player I have on the Red Wings is Mr. Alex DeBrincat, because he was the one that was actually showing a little bit of fight and moxie physically when we were getting pushed around. Because if you really wanted this situation to go away 2 years ago, and I know, Alec, forgive me because I can't remember if it was Marty St. Louis or Brad Richards at the time for Tampa Bay, but it was a disgruntled captaincy that had to be moved down from Steve Eisman the first time in Tampa Bay, and he sure took his time. Dylan Larkin's under contract, he could do the same thing. He could possibly strip him of his C. He can move some things around and then trade him only when he feels like, but I think that also hurts the team moving forward. But my point is, and everybody else except for DeBrincat, they got blamed. You can talk about Chris Illich, you can talk about not wanting to spend money, and the only trade I really liked, besides Gibson over the last year, was DeBrincat. I don't think Steve Eisman's done enough. Just because you've done some things with the Griffins, you haven't helped the big club enough. So, Larkin, he's within his right to do so, but you got to remember, 2C or not, he was a top of the team, and if he holds all the cards as he does with his no trade clause, if you screw this all up, here's the thing that reminds you of. You're in a rebuild that you still haven't gotten out from, and I don't think only a couple picks can suffice, because every other team in the league knows what his value is, and they know they can help him bring a championship.
That's key there. If such a trade happens, you need a sizable return for a player like him. But because the no trade clause is intact, he can dictate where to go and where he would want to end up. Now, in terms of possible destinations, I see a lot of people saying Minnesota. I've seen a lot of people saying Anaheim. Those are the two responses I've seen a lot of in terms of a potential trade. If it's in the division, I could see Montreal and or Boston making a push. But those are the most common answers that I've received from any potential trades. But
I'm actually going to throw a team out there that isn't mentioned, but it makes so much sense when you think about it. And especially if Yzerman decides to play the long game and more or less devalue him. Edmonton could make a play for Larkin and at least try to give Draisaitl and McDavid someone outside of Zach Hyman to be a scorer.
Let me double down on that, Ian, because I know I saw this from the fantasy land, and I'm not going to say that's fantasy. I agree with you as far as Edmonton. You got to try to do something. What about Toronto? If you're not ready to get rid of the Austin Matthews era and he's not sure whether or not he wants to stay, wouldn't someone like Dylan Larkin make sure he keeps his butt in the seats?
Well, I mean, again, they have the players to trade to do it. I mean, would you? Maybe they're different. I may be getting my position mixed up, but I don't know. Do you think a William Nylander and do you think William Nylander would be part of that, or do you think one of the younger pieces?
I would love to get William Nylander here. I don't know how realistic it would be, and I also don't know how realistic it would be for Toronto to get rid of their number one pick. But if it gives me Gavin McKenna, I'm probably doing the trade.
Well, no, they're not trading the first overall
that's
pick.
fantasy land.
Yeah, they're not trading the first overall pick.
Because Willie Nylander's really damn good.
But that's all of the bigs of fantasy land, and in terms of Toronto for getting up the first overall pick. But I don't see a way in which they're getting up Gavin McKenna in any trade.
No.
Or as a more realistic approach would come with Minnesota. Well, I'm mentioning Minnesota because not only does he join a team in win now mode, but also Team USA connections. Quinn Hughes, Matt Bodie, even the GM, Bill Garrett. Those are all Team USA connections. Brock Faber, too.
That makes sense to me. I think they have some assets there. I also had heard the story, and this is a little less fantasy because there's soon to be out, would be Brady Tkachuk.
So, in terms of Tkachuk Huberdeau 2.0,
I'm only saying that because the Red Wings really need someone that has some pushback. And if you want to have a captaincy that has a leader, if you don't think Dylan Larkin is one, I think Brady Tkachuk happens to be one. And oh, by the way, he can score some goals and punch you in the face.
not to mention that there's a little bit of discontent. I know there are trade rumors around Brady Tkachuk and the Ottawa Senators, so that does spark a little bit of the narrative about Tkachuk being traded. So, and I'll just say Tkachuk, I don't know if he's a little disgruntled in Ottawa, but if you're trading a disgruntled star for a disgruntled star, perhaps it could work out.
One last thing I'll say, and then we can pivot and do whatever you want, but as far as what you mentioned with Anaheim, that makes sense to me because you have the former general manager and player in Pat Verbeek, and then you also have something else to think about for Ottawa, as I mentioned, because that's how you also started the DeBrincat deal. And I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to have Dylan Larkin being traded in the division because it also gives more marquee matchups for me and more reasons for the Fire to be stoked.
Agreed. No, hey John, you don't have to comment on this next thing, but I just this whole thing with the Red Wings. Yes, Stevie Y is the front man here, but in my humble opinion, this is all a reflection of ownership.
Yes.
I won't go too far into it because I know what your profession is, but it's just Mike would not have let this happen.
Nope.
Mike was a winner in hockey, wanted to be a winner in baseball, and the man had a passion for it. Chris is Chris is not his father, and he doesn't. It appears to me he doesn't want to win.
Let me say this, I'll say it in the nicest way, and I appreciate your sentiments, Ian, because I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm glad I get to talk to you gentlemen all the time. I love talking to you because honestly you're sensible in comparison to everything else that we've done. We like to do this professionally. Yes, I know we're doing it for fun, but we all have aspirations. But as soon as you put that priority waist patch on there and you sold it out from the original 6, that's what you're treating your teams like. And the Red Wings and Tigers. Shame on Chris Ilitch for that. His dad would be very upset with him.
Very. It's just complacency at its finest. It's a reflection of him as an owner, not only with the Red Wings, but also the Tigers. And both the seasons that we saw from this year, from the Red Wings and right now with the Tigers, are a reflection of him as an owner. He's
Absolutely.
not fit to be one.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's why I always say for anyone that wants to throw anything at Yzerman or the players, it's all fair game. But it really comes down to that. If you're not going to will to spend money, if you're not going to make changes, hell, we talked about this just a couple of nights ago with the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Paul Skeens effect. You go out there and make moves and make changes. Yeah, some of the stuff has to work out, but at least Pittsburgh went out there and spent money.
Yeah, and it's meaningful changes that Bob Nutting and company made, which I'm surprised that the Pirates actually spent, but also is the willingness to commit to winning.
Yeah.
Now Carolina has done that with Eric Tulsky and Tom Dundon, the owner. I have to say, Tom Dundon personally gives me mixed feelings. Yes, he's a owner to me that would let the hockey guys run the show, and he's done exactly that. The hockey guys in Carolina are running the show. It once was Don Waddell and Eric Tulsky, and now Eric Tulsky and Rob Brind'Amour is running the show. The Trailblazers, it gets a little more complicated because the first few measures have Trailblazers fans scratching their heads over. And I get why. Cost-cutting moves, rejecting free T-shirts and all. But if you're an owner of a team, you have to care for your fan base and giving them free T-shirts at arenas, maybe even free towels and playoff games at arenas. He understood that assignment upon purchasing the Hurricanes. He kept the free towels for Hurricanes fans. The free T-shirts, that's a separate thing for the Trailblazers. But you have to keep the free T-shirts. You also have to take measures to ensure that you're putting your team in a winning position. If Thiago Splitter is keeping them afloat throughout the season and getting them to the playoffs in the midst of the Chauncey Billups scandal, then, in all sense, you'll be inclined to keep Thiago Splitter as your head coach.
I'll say this too, as far as your Carolina pivot in the mix for Portland and all of that. Look, you had Mikko Rantanen during the trade deadline last year. That didn't work out, and rather than Carolina go ahead and sticking with that, they decided to make the quick pivot and say, let's get Logan Stankoven and let's get some other picks back and regroup and start over. And essentially, they already had a good team around them. They fixed it. Now they're back in the Cup Finals a year later.
That is true. And I know that this comes to the topic of Stanley Cup Finals appearances, and I know I'm linking this to being on the clock in the sense of another topic. Carolina knows that they're on the clock entering this offseason. Regardless of winning or losing, could the Hurricanes make a push for Dylan Larkin? They have the resources to do it.
Let me know what the trade package is going to be if you think about it by the time we get to Saturday, and I'll tell you yes or no and sign the check myself.
Right, because I've already started doing some mock scenarios on PuckGM and Puckpedia, as is everybody and most of everybody else doing that on PuckGM. As I mentioned, the armchair GMs didn't waste any time on making mock trades. They don't waste any time.
No, again, you have to have stuff to talk about, and I also think outside of that too, I think everyone else in the NHL knows the type of impact that Dylan Larkin has. And you say you're getting later in your career, you say this too. Remember, you have Steve Yzerman, you have the 2002 Red Wings. I know it's different between Shanahan, Fedorov, Draper, everybody else. All the names across the board. It's not the same thing. But where was all that help for Dylan Larkin when it was his turn? He didn't get any.
He did not. And of course, this speaks to possibly a change in GM. We mentioned about getting the nuclear codes out. I don't know if we're going to have to get them out earlier than usual.
If we do that again, I already have much more cannon fodder I'll be talking about for free agency frenzy, but hopefully one thing at a time. This news was shocker enough. I was hoping it would just come after this was over in the Stanley Cup Finals and not right now.
I mean, come on. I mean, we do remember, John, that just 2 years ago, that before Game 7, Linus Ullmark got traded.
Yeah, so again, you're right. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Leave it to the encyclopedia that is Alec Nava. I know I'm having a hard time with this, but I can also say, you know, Cooper's been going through that over the years. He's just kind of getting through that rebuild. I thought I'd be closer to being done already, but as I said, if it gets mishandled and mishandled poorly, you're going to be starting something that you're not even done with to begin with. So there's a lot left to do here.
There is. As we're getting closer towards the second period, I know there's going to be more in the second intermission, including yesterday's Game 1 of the NBA Finals. And of course, that was a doozy. So we'll talk more on that in the second intermission about the NBA Finals and the trajectory of both the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs. We get to hear some sound bites from none other than John Tortorella.
I'll be looking forward to that in the second intermission as well, because honestly, I thought the series might go one way or one way only. That maybe those who won the NBA Cup might be the ones that lift the Larry O'Brien.
In a good night.
If the Knicks win the NBA Finals, there's only one man that they should give credit to outside the player on the court. If you know, you know. And if you don't, I'll tell you at the next intermission.
We're going to have some fun, aren't we?
Oh yeah, we are. On to you, John.
Okay, it's the start of the second period. Again, I will take this second and the start of the third and then leave it to Mr. Nava again to close, hopefully in a better result for him. I think we will reverse order by the time I get to Sin City toward the weekend. I know I got some interesting plans, and hopefully by the time I see the movie Obsession, I'm going out with the missus on Sunday, that I don't have nightmares before Tuesday's Game 4. So let's get going here as the puck drop is lifted off the loft now toward the right side of the dot, and this will be sent back in now by Staal. Line number 3's out there for Rod Brind'Amour's squad. They're only down 1. Vegas only had 2 shots, but that long flip from Marner to Howden off the one-on-one was enough to beat Freddie Andersen, who's got a 50% save percentage right now. This will be sent in amongst the inboards, played it off the backhand. Carolina and their home blocks with the red striping will be going left to right. Vegas in the road rights, right to left, as this is stopped by the goal sticker, Freddie Andersen. Send it around for Jalen Chatfield. Had a very good Game 1. Carolina just trying to do their best to even this series. Now, in that first period, they had stretches of 5 or 6 minutes where they had elongated puck possession. They need to be able to continue that. Vegas, able to find their sea legs, was enough to get a goal, as they're out on the front foot right now. Stick chop toward the right side. Now, here's a back pass, looking for Taylor Hall, but this is deflected. Now Vegas, here's Mitchell Marner. He'll stop, and we'll send it in toward the left side blue line while Bill try to get inside opposition. He can't do so. Stankoven throw this one up ahead and across the left side wing and then picked off. On the backhand now, good blind back pass to Noah Hannafin on the rush. Vegas with numbers. Hannafin tried to send it through the blue paint. That one will go wide. Carolina now on the puck pickup, got some work to do, as Mitch Marner will force it back. Colton Sissons now. Off part of that still Tomas Hertl. Helped one of Carolina players to lose a blade. Hertl gets it back now. He's got it toward the right side red line. Lost it off the spin and turn. K'Andre Miller will push this one up the ice. Vegas' forecheck was there. Dylan Coughlin always forced this into the corner. And now this will be an opportunity off the long outstretched pass. Picked up here for Mark Stone. Captaincy across the left lane. Here's an outside save for Freddie Andersen with the left pad as they pull back up my rosters. Now toward the right side, Barbashev throws it back to the point for Rasmus Andersen. Sent in the corner now away from Keegan Kolesar. Here's Rasmus for the blue paint. The save will be held on a slow shot from Kolesar by Freddie.
We do have an update along the benches, John. We're getting word that Brayden McNabb is not on the Vegas bench. He had 7 shifts and had that blocked shot from up high. It seems to be towards his mouth area. He's not on the bench and is questionable to return.
Well, hopefully that means at this point questionable. We'll see at least the availability for Saturday. You'd have to imagine they could at least save him for that, especially if Vegas walks away with a 2-0 series lead, career high in any game, the 3 assists in Game 1 that Alec mentioned from the first period. As this will be intercepted by Eric Robinson. Throw this into the left corner. And a backhand clear. This will be recollected for a moment for Nikishin. Vegas will steal. They'll take the long flip. As Gostisbehere will chase this into the left corner. It's contested. Left side red line now. A lot of physicality from that first, well over 40 hits. Stopped in behind the net now by Carter Hart. There's Theodore. And off the outstretch. You lose away from one hit, does Vegas. And this will be chopped in the corner now as Dowd will finish off his fit. Players for John Tortorella's squad will take a change as there was some contact right up the middle of the ice, no matter. Vegas has a one-on-one. It's Barbashev on the backhand. Freddie Andersen will cancel off with the goal stick. The left corner. Vegas has the first couple of shots here in this second. Now they get an offensive zone draw from a Carolina ice.
Another odd man rush that could have went sideways. First it was Brett Howden, but this time it was Ivan Barbashev sprung up front down the near side. He catches Alexander Nikishin off guard as he was late towards it, and Nikishin's outreaching his stick couldn't get his way towards Barbashev. As Barbashev, he tucked this perfectly on his backhand to elevate this.
The second opportunity with Freddie Andersen was a slight little bit extra to finish that one out on Matthew Tkachuk between his legs, but he couldn't pick it up the second time around. This will be a D-zone draw win for Rod Brind'Amour's squad, and they will elect to slow things back down. It is now Nick Ehlers in behind his own net to get things going. 92 hits this postseason, leads the NHL in the playoffs for Barbashev, as this will be sent in toward the left corner. Martin, up part of that third line, will chase it. Vegas didn't have much propensity to try to get it out of their own end. Took them some time, and the long flip now will be cleaned up by the Carolina Hurricanes. They'll take this one off the cross-ice pass and get started again with Sean Walker. Got part of that K'Andre Miller line out there with him. That all-second line got 50-plus points, about a plus 54 as well. They've been the best throughout the playoffs for Carolina, but they got to get line numero uno going. Opportunity for Walker. This one will go wide and amongst the end boards. Be picked up in behind the net now by Taylor Hall, but he's getting tied up a little bit there for Mitch Marner. Off a couple of stick lifts, here's Hall. Working in behind the net, he got knocked down to a knee, still got it out to Walker. Taylor Hall on his back skate. We'll take a no-look, throw it back in behind the corner now for Jackson Blake. Blake still trying to work with it. Stankoven steals in behind Hart's cage. People loft it toward the left side. Carolina got possession, but they've been kept on the outside. Vegas always covers that slot. Here's Chatfield. They got part of a change out there right now. Try to throw it back to the point. Marner steals. Marner's got numbers off the rush. He back skates. Still with it now as he fights off some contact, and I think drew a penalty in the process. They couldn't get him off the puck, and K'Andre Miller going to go to the sin bin.
Miller shoved up the man that was going towards the slot as they were both defending, as he and Chatfield were defending an odd-man rush. And Miller was and Miller shoved off this man down as they were racing back. It was the speed that activated up. Now on the far side was Mitch Marner. So already Brett Howden has a goal and a penalty drawn. He's having himself an incredible game so far.
Yeah, thank you for that pickup. As I was coughing all over myself, that was Marner trying to keep it alive, and then Howden was the one against Miller to be able to have that. 14:44 left to go in the second. Joining with you alongside Alec Nava and Ian Genge. You got Jack Eichel back out there on the power play side with Hertl and Dorofeyev. Hertl had no stranger to big goals as he got one to be able to get the go-ahead after Shane Gostisbehere tied it in Game 1 inside the final 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Shot board is 8-5. Essentially, that's what Carolina had to end the first frame. Vegas got about 3 shots already, but it's been a little event at that point, but it could change right now. Marner, fake the slap shot. Eichel lets it go. This one tipped up in the air. This goes off of the knee of Marner. He tried to get cute there, and this will be a backhand save as Martinook able to get one on Hart. Then he tries to get a stick lift against Jack Eichel. Will have to skate back. Eichel almost turns it over, and this will go in the offensive end as Slavin will punch it off the glass nicely. Stopped here for Hart. We still have not gotten a look at that saves, by the way, in the first. That's a shame on ABC and ESPN, same company. 14 minutes left to go. 6 minutes have expired in the middle frame. Vegas still up 1-0 for the first period. Goal from Howden. Here's a rush up the gut here. Long shot. It's canceled off by Hart. And now Vegas might have some numbers. Mark Stone will stop across the left wing. Lead for Eichel. Wrister. And this will not be held. And around the inboards for Marner. Now left circle Stone. Eichel will take that same position. High slot Stone. Cross ice speed. Marner, one touch. This is loose in the front of this scramble of bodies. And Freddie Andersen was down inauspiciously from the last possession, but now he recovers. Stone, left side red line. Here's Eichel. Power play down to 30 seconds. Here's a touch pass. Dorofeyev off the outside of the post. As this goes back around now for Hertl. Stone, left circle, Eichel. Marner now through the traffic. Here's a floating pass. Eichel trying to get an instep. Trying to keep it alive here. Here's a late cross check. It was loose in front for Vegas. Carolina escapes. They have numbers now the other way. They take a long wrister. And Aho's chance gets blocked. He'll go to the bench. Here's Hannafin now. Off the long flip. Vegas doesn't score, but they look dangerous. Here's a backhand took. He scores! What a goal! Vegas up by 2!
Well, now he's tied Marcia, so we almost thought about more short-handed goals than power play goals, but that's all for not now. Vegas puts Carolina on a predicament right at this point. As Howden goes up with speed, that's a burst of north of 20 miles an hour as he drives towards the front. And the weakness exploited as 2 rush chances in which Howden took it himself as Jacob Slavin was late. As with Howden receiving as he takes it with speed. Exploits the lack of speed on the defensive side, makes it 2-0.
Brett Howden again. Alex Newhook, eat your heart out. 12:37 left to go in the second. Great help there for me, Alec, in the mix. I appreciate you. Howden scores again. 10-6 on the shot board to give him any sort of space right now. And he pretty much couldn't fit a Cheerio in through there, but somehow Brett Howden's got 2. It's his 5th career postseason multi-goal game. Vegas have just 6 shots. They got 2 goals, and I think Carolina, even with a 1-0 only for Vegas in the series lead, they're on life support right now, down 2-0, as we get a whistle late at 12:03.
Is it offside with 7:57 gone in the second, and Howard already has both goals for Vegas. Already he's putting out some of the best individual efforts that he's had so far. It's not just Marner on the long flip from the defensive side, but he has the speed of himself as well.
Yeah, I don't know how he's doing it right now. He looks like an overpowered video game character. If you had Brett Howden, I would say for maybe 5, 6, or 7. I would say for 5, 6, or 7 goals, that would be a successful postseason. He looks like he's on more along the ways of doubling that. He might get to 16 goals by the time this is done.
Oh my goodness. And if Vegas does end up winning the cup, look what Brett Howden scoring 16 goals. Well, I don't know if Zach Hyman can really eat his heart out. Okay, maybe he can.
Yeah, he would be the MVP. I mean, as much as I say about Carter Hart and what he's done, you could talk about 1A, 1B, but if Howden gets a few more and they lift it, there's your winner right there.
But, well, not if Marner has anything to say about that.
Points lead, yes. I can't disagree with you there. I'm just looking at in terms of a player that I did not expect to have this type of impact. I would have to say that, but you're right. I guess I can't argue with that with Marner, but it's nice to have that many weapons.
Oh, it is very nice that a lineup this deep, the weapons that he has, it is interesting whether or not Torch stays or if Vegas decides to go a different route if they don't keep Torch because his contract is for the remainder of the season. If he leaves, then there might be some discussion about Vegas possibly calling up Brian Craig from the AHL Hendersonville. He's their head coach over there. Perhaps they could give him a try. If he doesn't, if they decide not to, then they could keep Torts.
I would have to think, and I don't know if Ian's going to jump in on this or not. If you lift the cup with Tortorella, he has to come back. I don't know. I don't care how long he comes. Even if it's only for a couple of weeks, hell, bring him back again in March.
Yeah, back here in Carolina.
It's 11:50 left to go in the second. Again, we're going to get to Ian there in a moment, but I think you just bring him back there late if you want to do it again. Just have him do the part-time duty for coaching. 13 for Howden, 10 for Dorofeev, as this is now kitty quartered in. Rasmus Andersen gets away from a hit. Here's a long flip, and this is Colton Sissons off a couple of stick lifts. Be sent toward Carter Hart. He stopped all 10 shots he faced, but Freddie Andersen now only 4 of 6. We talked about that in a rough part of the first game where it wasn't all his fault, but now you're going to be talking about the save percentage, and I'll say it here. If this continues the way that it is, and Carolina does drop this game regardless of the situation, whether or not it's comfortable, you're going to Brind'Amour, as this is sent back around the inboards here, away from Jarvis. Try to get to Aho. 2-2-game losing streaks at home, November 15 and 26, and then 1st and 3rd in January. That's all you've really had there. Carolina's not used to dropping multiple games. Pass attempt and behind actually bounces off the blade of the stick that was broken. Carolina could get a chance out of this as it goes toward the left side dot. Andersen, he does his defensive responsibility there for the other Calgary boy and Rasmus Andersen as they shovel it away across the opposite blue line. Jalen Chatfield. Slow this one again now for Slavin. On top of the first line, still trying to get things done. Long wrister, this one blocked. Away from Carter Hart. 10-10 up to go in the second. We're almost halfway through regulation here. John here with you alongside Alec Nava and Ian Genge. Eichel, he'll send it in. Be stopped by Freddie Andersen with the blade. This is high and off the inboards. A little bit too far for Jackson Blake. Barbashev already back out there at a primary assist on that Howden goal. Here's Barbashev, just able to get a one-time off, but this gets canceled to the left side red line. Dorofeev off the drop now. Theodore. Again, they're playing without Braden McNabb, who took that puck to the face. All likelihood he's going to be back on Saturday with little repairs, as this is iced against the Canes.
Fans don't think so, but the Vegas player was ahead. Maybe I'll stand over to it. It's clear on the icing. Vegas has been very good at playing shutdown defense. That's been our identity ever since Bruce Cassidy was hired. They kept that defensive mentality carrying on to John Tortorella after Cassidy got axed. So you keep your offensive firepower without sacrificing your defense.
Really what you do, and I agree with you, Alec, is you just remind the troops again of what you are, kind of get their intensity and the fire lit back under them. That's what a coaching change will do. And a little bit of health goes a long way. Now toward the left side corner. This is picked up here for the moment away from Kolsar, and Might as well take a change for Brind'Amour's squad. And 9:15 left to go in the second. Here's a race up ice. Now Andersen will take the long chip. He'll get off. As this is sent in around the end boards here. And picked back down off the one-on-one. And Carolina's iced it one more time.
You can't do that against Vegas because soon enough, Vegas, if they see that they have an advantageous spot right after icing, they're going to take advantage of that. Remember, Carolina took advantage of the Vegas icing in Game 1, which led to the Gostisbehere goal to tie it up at 4. And now Vegas can put themselves up by 3, which would be most likely an insurmountable lead because coming back from multiple goals against either of these teams is difficult.
We talked about Game 1 in terms of finishing chances and doing it at a high percentage. Vegas now finally with their 7th shot, and they're barely even on pace to get 15 shots by the end of this game, and yet they're up 2-0 right now with a goal per period by Brett Howden. Check that almost goes in near the bench. And long flip again for Carolina. They've been having to do so because now with this 2-0 lead, you can essentially shut down that neutral zone, play a little bit of a trap, and Carolina having a hard time trying to get in. There's some lumber that needed to be picked up behind the end boards. A little bit of a half pirouette there for Hertl, but he lost it into the neutral zone. Back check was there. Marner now have to pick this one up in a corner. As he gets away from Rasmus Andersen, there was a slap shot. Carter Hart was nowhere near the right post. Picked up now near the right dot for Aho. Aho flip pass just stays in. Carolina now has possession, but they've got to get shots at the net. This is a centering feed, and this will bounce back off the Carolina bodies and in their own defensive zone. 4 goals for Aho, 2 of them were empty netters. His pass, again, it was contested for Svechnikov near the right dot. He throws it anyway, it's picked off. Long wrister, Karlsson, while Bill takes it, and Freddie Andersen got it, the trapper.
It feels the top line is doing too much, playing the pretty plays and not so looking for a greasy rebound at the front. They're trying what they think is the perfect play. That they're looking to pass it towards the front, towards the left side, and not trying to vie for rebounds at the front. They're not clogging up the slot, and as a result, Vegas knows where they're going to go with the passing lanes. Vegas is anticipating the passing lanes and cutting them off at right before they even get the puck.
Yeah, they are. You got to get more shots to the net. You got to get traffic in front of the net. You can't pretty much reinvent the wheel, as you talked about, honestly, Alec, in the first. If you can't get enough of those chances here, and you already have Vegas having the lead, you're playing right into their hands.
Yeah, this is essentially Carolina playing right into Vegas' trap. He talked about the many times in which the Hurricanes couldn't get out of the way. The Golden Knights, the Rangers, excuse me, not the Golden Knights, the Panthers, excuse me. I got caught up in the moment, but the many times in which the Hurricanes couldn't get out of the way, the Panthers and the Rangers, the Hurricanes are finding out that the Golden Knights, they're not just a bar to clear. They are the standard of the NHL in the last decade.
Yeah, really, in my mind's eye, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because you've seen it, I know we covered some of those games, and the Panthers had their physical way with Carolina, pushed them around a little bit, and scored some key goals, a la Matthew Tkachuk, in a very elongated overtime series. But right now, Vegas is just doing a better job contesting the slot, and if Carolina keeps trying to do the same thing, I don't see any reason why Vegas needs to break out of their defensive shell. What they're doing right now is working, and unless Carolina comes up with another game plan, Vegas isn't going to change what they're doing.
They're not. And Vegas is confusing Carolina's defense all game long.
Yeah, when you're going for long clears, you're trying to find something else. You're not sure whether you can carry the puck into the zone. You mix it up a little bit with the trap. You cover the slot. You attack when you need to. And you got waves, as we said, in between all 3 defensive cores, lines 1, 2, and 3, that can skate and all play well. That makes life difficult. But Carolina, as you mentioned, got to get more chances. Shot board only 12-8. And here is a stick chop at Taylor Hall. He gets wiped out by Coghlan on the other end of the ice, and I'm sure Carolina fans aren't going to like that, but this is another pass that easily gets read into the neutral zone, but Vegas didn't gain the red, so it'll go back Carolina's way.
Carolina, this is the same point in which they are in game one, right after that icing that Vegas has. The difference is Vegas, they did clog up the central of the ice. You see most road goals in a single postseason. Brett Howden with 10, which is tied for third with Joe Mullen, Joe Pavelski, Alex Ovechkin, and Sidney Crosby. The only two that are ahead of that group, Mark Scheifele's 11 in 2018, and last year, Sam Bennett.
And Sam Bennett got himself paid. The only way that he wouldn't be able to add to this is if Vegas ends up getting the sweep. We don't want to think about that. As here is a big hit toward the right side. That was Howden again. Oh my goodness. As it was picked up now from Marner. He's going to go to the bench to get a new blade. Hopefully he's okay. This is sending off the long flip back to Wild Bill. Got to look out for number 21 anytime he's on the ice. Who just put a bullseye on the back. Sent back around now by Barbashev. Nice move. In and out of a phone booth. Takes a short side wrister. He'll pick it back up. Barbashev. He'll spin. This is a feather pass to Eichel. Eichel now dance around near the right side down. Look at Vegas. Work this puck. Here's a long wrister. Sent back in behind the inboards now. Dorofeev tried to find it. And Eichel finally gets its stick lifted away. Carolina can escape, but it's a 1-on-4. And this will be Ehlers by himself. Still trying to get a cross-ice feed now. Seth Jarvis put it into the corner now. Aho. Try to get this back to Svech. Top line out there. In the mix with Walker. And this one is saved by Hart.
Brett Howden's okay, as he drove hard to the net going one-on-one with Jalen Chatfield on the puck race. Chatfield did a good job at protecting the puck up until Howden got away, but Chatfield couldn't get his stick onto the puck at the last moment. That allowed Howden to get a shot. He can believe he's already a natural hat-trick. Watch it. As Howden was driving to the net, he lost his stick as he bumped Andersen hard, but he accidentally knocked himself over. Now, face-off to the left of Hart.
This will be the first time I ever say this during a play-by-play, but Brett Howden, as he's getting his camera shots, if he would have scored that there, it would have been a natural hat trick, as you mentioned, Alec, but off of 3 one-on-one forecheck fighting for steal goal finishes. I mean, he's having the game of all games.
He is. Regardless of how you want to put the narrative on him about regular season Howden versus playoff Howden, it's clear that he fits the mold of a playoff performer. Whistle here, right off the drop.
I think we're going to get a slash against Carolina. Broke the stick out of the hand right to Vegas. It should be a power play for them.
You gotta be kidding me. Jordan Martin, because he was trying to jump onto the puck right off the face-off. That destroys Andersen's stick in half, and he has to go to the bench for a new one. That's just something you cannot do. And for all the watch parties at Las Vegas, and of course they're going to do the shame chant like they do at home games. 2 for slashing. That just cannot happen.
You'd have to imagine what the reaction would be. I'm certain it'd be the same thing if Rasmus Andersen was wearing a Calgary uniform. But hey, what am I supposed to do here? I don't even have a stick. And by the way, Rasmus Andersen, again, might not have any goals as we still talked about, but he is a +2 to lead everybody here on the ice for the Vegas Golden Knights. It is 2 power plays, but no shots. Again, it's been the same way for Carolina, 54 of 58, 93%. But this 2-goal lead, courtesy both of Brett Howden, even strength, you got to make sure you keep it the same way, or if not, just score shorthanded outright for Rod Brind'Amour's squad. As Mitch Marner, the Swiss Army knife, will be back out there again. 3rd power play to get going here is Marner will elect for the back pass. Eichel across the right side wing will rim it around the inboards. 5:40 left to go in the second. There'll be a chase for him behind the net, but if not before, a long flip. Carter Hart, no problem with that. Will stop it. He has turned away all 14 shots he's faced. Freddie Andersen, 9 of 11. Tomas Hertl goes for a cross-ice feed for the captaincy in Stone. And Carolina has some speed off this rush. And Aho centering feed. Love to see him just start firing pucks at the net. You got to get something going at some point, but he missed that pass. Marner slows up. Puck goes back to him. Near the left side dot, lead for Stone. Cross-ice, got to watch for that broken stick. Barbashev, Marner, 1 touch to Eichel near the left dot. That's where the righty loves to be. High slot Marner, he's the extra defenseman on this power play. As it's Stone on the bumper. Eichel left dot. I slot Marner one more time. Does not shoot. Makes a move. Marner dancing. And finally stolen by Carolina. This time they're going to elect for a puck carry off the 3-on-3 and then take the change. Dorofeev. The Aho penalty kill line is sitting back on the bench. It'll start again now. Here's a drop from Theodore. Wild Bill got this one up the ice. He will take the neutral zone trap and clear it right in. He'll get it back near the left side red line. Here for Rasmus Andersen, who had it for a moment before the full sail clear. So no shots for Vegas on 3 straight power plays, but they're up by 2, so they're not going to care about that as much. Here is Howden. Off the drop now from Rasmus Andersen. Howden works his way toward the right side red line. He's being dwarfed a little bit off of a hold. This is picked up in the high slot and then intercepted. This will go right to Carolina. Trying to get a 3-on-3 going. Eric Robinson moves it around the inboards to Jacob Slavin. Nobody back home though, and Carolina inexplicably turns it over. There's been a lot of that, hopeful passes, but there's so much time left, and just a 2-0 deficit at 3:36. You can't go for the hopeless plays. You just got to get pucks on net.
You have to, and when you're getting more shots on goal shorthanded than you are on the power play, something is very, very wrong with the man advantage. Shorthanded is okay. Carolina's doing a good job of killing off their penalties. And yes, the shorthanded chances have been coming up very, very often for the Canes, but if the majority of your great chances are coming in shorthanded, you're not doing enough at 5-on-5.
No, you're not. And again, we talked about as good as Nick Ehlers was in that first period. He had 2 shots. He had 4 attempted. I don't even remember calling his name more than once in this second period. So Golden Knights didn't like that. And Carolina had some action to activate with. They turned that one down. Again, as we mentioned time and time again, you got goals both by the same guy. Brett Howden gets 1 in the first and 1 in the second. If you're just joining us, it's Howden's 12th from Marner's 16th assist at 13:33, and then Howden gets his 13th from Barbashev and Hannafin off a couple of one-on-one chases. Freddie Andersen 9 of 11, Carter Hart 14 of 14. Both goaltenders not called into much action. We expected this game to be a lot tighter than the 9-goal fest that was a couple of days ago. Shots are 14-11 for the Canes. Hits 26-17 for them as well. Face-offs 17-10. But some of those numbers don't tell the story, because to me, Alec, I'm looking at this on the stats. Carolina leads the giveaways 11-4.
That's a very telling stat. Game 1 was about the offensive chances. Game 2 is about the giveaways. You cannot have 11 giveaways in the first 2 periods and expect to win every time. And also, what I'm seeing from the Twitter side from John Buccigross, who picked Carolina to go to the final, he said it's time for Ehlers to be moved up in the Aho line and to put either one of Jarvis or Svechnikov on the third line, because neither one of them have been doing much. Give Aho that boost.
Whether it's an acquired taste for John Buccigross during the play-by-play, because I happen to think that we do a better job, I will say his take is 100% spot on.
Exactly. How about these scoring chances for Vegas? 16, Carolina 1 in the second period in the entire series. Not just this game, this series.
That is absolutely insane, but again, you think about it in a vacuum. When Vegas outscored Colorado 5-0 in the second period of that 4-game sweep, maybe it tells you that the vice grip that the Golden Knights can bring in that middle frame does a whole hell of a lot. 16-1 is outrageous, though.
And that even accounts for the Jordan Staal goal in the second period. The Vegas has just owned Carolina in this middle frame.
Yeah, I forgot that you told me from a couple of days ago the way that it was set up in the NHL that the scoring chance, even though the Jordan Staal scored, didn't count as a scoring chance.
That should not happen.
3:15 left to go in the second. Hannafin now on a back skate, battling for position near the left dot. Can the Canes get something to feel good about to end the second? Shot tip does not hit Hart. Here is Svechnikov, and Hart will be forced to hold. as John Tortorella looks on before we get some late pushing and shoving. Didn't get a chance to see that hole set up because of the late shots, but Kolesar definitely has a hold of somebody.
Garrett Rank is quick with getting everybody involved in the pushing and shoving to separate. The officials here are working overtime to separate the two teams from having to do any further damage to one another, because things can get ugly and fast if these two teams are involved. And yes, it was Aho who started it on his former teammate Noah Hannafin. They were together in 2018 before Hannafin got traded alongside Elias Lindholm for Dougie Hamilton.
That tells you everything that Alec had just explained to you from the first line and we said across the preview. The only thing we're seeing from that first line is frustration. And there you go right there. You go back to the second line for Stankov and he can't win the draw. Here's another long flip attempt. This time it's snuffed out by Carolina. 2:50 left to go in the second. John here with you alongside Alec Nava and Genge. I'll have another top half of the third before we send this back over to Alec, and then we'll talk about some NBA Finals during the second intermission. Shot board is only 14-11, just a grand total of 25. Carolina's got a 3-shot edge, but they're down 2 goals. 2-0, a goal per period for Howden. And Vegas feels like they're comfortable right now. Again, as we said, doesn't matter if they're down 3 or where they are, they play at their pace and they kind of just wear you down. And that's what's happening to Carolina in real time. Again, they only had 1 loss in the Stanley Cup playoffs heading into this series as this gets iced against Vegas.
Before this fight, it was just 1 loss, but Vegas is doing a good job protecting the slots in all areas. Just Jeremy Lazon and company, they were rotating around extra bodies forward, covering up the slot to make sure the pass doesn't get towards in front of Carter Hart. Everybody is boxed out to the outside, and Vegas' defensive structure has 3-4 guys covering up the slot, making sure the pass doesn't get there.
Face-off win for Carolina. Been talking about being kept to the outside. Got to get shots to the net, got to get traffic. Can't be too cute. We've been saying that enough, and it's not going to change until they make something change. Chatfield, rolling puck. This one gets blocked. Picked up now by Hannafin. You got Theodore mixed out there as well. It's usually Rasmus Andersen, but you're going to have to juggle with that Brayden McNabb, who took that puck to the face. We do think he will be back by Saturday, but got to make sure those lines stay fresh with just 5 defensemen left. Here's Chatfield again, rolling puck. Vegas will get that one out as this rolls end over end. It'll be iced one more time, but Vegas won't care about that.
Yeah, Vegas are going to take the icing here after that shot was blocked from Chatfield. Jalen Chatfield's going to make his way to the bench, but Carolina did the idea that I was wanting them to do. Send pucks towards the slot and wanted to get a rebound that's loose towards the front. Jordan Staal got tied up, but there's a start for Carolina. Send pucks towards the slot. Doesn't matter how many bodies are there for Vegas.
Everybody out there with a minute 35 plus shift with the exception of Hannafin. Marner steals. Excellent work to carry the mail to allow everybody else to get off the ice. And now you got to counter quickly for Carolina. Svetch with the drop for Aho. That one was blocked by Eichel. And off the back check. Here is Miller. Turnaround chance. Hart says no in the left corner. Excellent work for Jack Eichel on that shift.
That's one of the best chances the Aho line has had in this game, too. That was with Jack Eichel rushing back to block the shot. It was started up near side from Andrei Svechnikov. He sees that his lane was closed off and decides to defer to the trailer Sebastian Aho between the legs. Fires this one, and Carter Hart makes the save. Eichel rushed back to fend off Aho. And remember, Aho's still standing at 4 goals with 2 at the empty net. He needs to do more than that.
I like this for Rod Brind'Amour, though. You bring that first line back out there in a key moment, trust them to win some faceoffs. You get into it physically, you get a little bit upset with Rasmus Andersen, but now you got a time to push it offensively. You're going to ride that fuel, try to get it to score a goal here with 1:08 left to go in the second. However you can get it, it's gamesmanship at this point. Rasmus Andersen takes a hit in amongst the end boards. Vegas will clear it out. Look out here. It's 3-on-2. Here's a stick chop, and Eichel couldn't keep that one alive. Carolina now. Aho try to work his way to the net, but Carter Hart will brush it away toward the left side red line.
Sauce pass. That one was dangerous, but it gets out to the neutral zone. This is picked up now off a high hit. Will knock Vegas off the puck. Carolina will play with it in their own end here. 30 seconds left to go in the middle frame. Shot board 15-11. Carolina still only down 2, but it feels like much more than that considering the way Vegas plays defense. Andersen gets it off the glass. Nice high reach there for Mark Stone in the captaincy as Vegas content to dump it into Carolina's D zone. Send him behind the net. Carolina lost the stick. This will be sent toward by Marner, and that is going to end the second period. Howden gets one more. It's still only 2-0, but when's the response going to happen? 2-0 Vegas after 40.
The response needs to come soon and fast. It cannot be delayed until late in the third period. You have to come out striking with some quick goals if you're Carolina. Because if you wait, Vegas is going to settle in and be comfortable with their game, playing their pace that they're at. If you're Vegas, you're wanting to slow the game down. Don't speed it up. If Carolina wants to speed the game up, if I'm them, you have to play at a quick pace and catch Vegas off guard.
It's the first time Carolina's been not scored in the first 2 periods of any playoff game here. And Vegas, they have a lead. We'll see how comfortable it's going to be. Carter Hart, 15 of 15. Freddie Andersen, 9 of 11. We'll give you one last stat check, and then we can talk about the stuff in the NBA Finals. But again, 15-11 shot board. Carolina leads that. Hits 28-18. Face-offs 19-14 for the Canes. Vegas goes 0 for 3 on the power play. Carolina goes 0 for 2. Both teams combine 0 for 5 with 0 shots.
Now, as you go on to NBA Finals, as we talked about, there's 2 wars I want to begin this segment off, John. Jalen Brunson. He overcame 2 different injuries, a knee injury and an ankle injury, and showed himself that he is a top 5 clutch player in the entire association with 30 points, including some key baskets to seal the victory for the Knicks. What a start.
Man, if you're the Dallas Mavericks, you gotta be feeling sick to your stomach, huh? And you think about the stuff with Luka Doncic, you already know what Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns wants to be able to prove some big things. And you can even say big ups for Mike Brown because, again, thought maybe that wouldn't be really a coaching upgrade, but that is big brass set there for the New York Knicks to get Game 1 victory on the road.
Yeah, but so what I was saying before the start of the second period, I don't know if you are in the know, fellas, but ESPN has been collaborating with the WWE for a minute now. And there's one character in pro wrestling, one man who has been heavily involved in the predictions of the NBA playoffs. Are either of you familiar with who I'm talking about?
The only one I know was the Danhausen curse on the Cavs.
Yes,
Danhausen.
Danhausen has been the center. Danhausen has been the driving force of the Knicks. I will defend that point. I will die on that hill. Because this man has not been wrong. He cursed the Knicks to start. They were down 2-1 against the Hawks. He was bribed to uncurse them, and they have proceeded to win 12 straight postseason games.
That's such a journey for the Knicks.
The curse is real, fellas. This is not fake. This is not scripted. This man Danhausen is single-handedly bringing the New York Knicks a championship after 50-plus years. After 50-plus years.
Oh my goodness. Well, what a revival for the Knicks too. That I have to say, before the finals began, I said to some others, I like the Knicks' chances of winning the finals. Sure, the Spurs are going to be favored, but if you watch the regular season series between these two, the Knicks know how to play the Spurs.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. Again, I can't necessarily be shocked. I'll say this is a funny for the NBA 2K26 game. That's usually generally very easy to shoot, but it seems like sometimes when you don't get a chance to have the basketball that much, Josh Hart probably had a stat line that I normally would get. 1 for 5 3-points, but 15 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 steals. You just got to find other ways to get the job done. That's pretty good.
Yes, he's the definition of role player that knows his role to the maximum. If it means getting 15 rebounds, then he would do exactly that. If the decision of putting OG Anunoby on Victor Wembanyama, that's proven to be a fruitful one for New York, because the strategy here is putting smaller guys, but they're so tall enough to defend the taller guys.
Yeah.
And which they're faster and more agile, which they can quickly catch up to them. That worked with the Thunder with putting Alex Caruso on Nikola Jokic. It's working with the Knicks by putting Anunoby on Wembanyama. And if it's not Anunoby guarding him, you can put either one of Karl Anthony Towns or Mitchell Robinson on him. And Robinson's playing through a broken finger.
And I'll tell you this, honestly, for the Spurs side, I know this goes without saying, but if I got Stephon Castle on 7-16, who I had the privilege of watching over the last couple with Devin Vassell, but 17 on 7-16, and Devin Vassell with 9 points on 4 of 11, Spurs aren't going to win that way.
Well, I'll give Castle the benefit of the doubt that I can anticipate him having a bounce back, but for San Antonio, their game is driving to the rim. They have to stop forcing needless breeze when it doesn't necessitate any three-point shots being taken. Julian Champagnie, of course, is best built for three-pointers, but Wembanyama, we haven't seen much of him in Game 1. I know the stat line says 26 points, but 12 of them have come off free throws, and the Knicks have made him largely ineffective in Game 1. The only times that we've really seen Wembanyama do anything in this game were a three-pointer and just one alien dunk, in which the Knicks made him look like that's a rare sight for him to have, because the Knicks have shut down Wembanyama throughout the game and have limited his usage to only free throws.
Yeah, and if you can do that, as you mentioned, Alec, you're going to go a long way of beating the San Antonio Spurs. We'll see if they can bounce back. Because if, again, New York goes up 2-0 in the same way we talk about the Golden Knights and the Hurricanes, you might be thinking this series is going to go bye-bye, and honestly, the New York Knicks could actually lift a championship. I was in the honest answer for the Eastern Conference thinking about the Cavs, the Celtics. I thought the Pistons might be there, at least the top 6. They had a better season than I thought that they would be, and the Knicks would be included. I would happen to think that if the Pistons wouldn't have kind of coughed that away against the Cavs, they would have been able to give them a series more so than the Cavs did. Because I think if you're Cleveland and you get swept by the Knicks, regardless if even the Knicks go back and win the championship, that's kind of embarrassing, isn't it?
You know, I had the feeling that even though the Cavaliers won that Game 7, whoever was coming, whenever they faced the Knicks, I was like, oh, Cleveland is doomed.
Okay.
Because the Knicks and the Cavaliers, that's a terrible matchup for the Cavaliers to have. I picked the Knicks to win that, but a sweep is supposed to be better than this, Cleveland.
I just wanted to make sure you were at least thinking that, because I didn't want to think I was completely crazy. I thought they could take at least a game or two. But we'll see. Depends on what happens with the with the Pistons again. Next season, the moves that they make, you think there's going to be some things there. And the Knicks, they're going to have a good team. I still think the players in the East that we have with the Cavs and the Celtics will be there. Hell, if the Magic are healthy and they could take another step, that could be interesting. The Eastern Conference is pretty interesting.
Well, gentlemen, it falls down to not one person, but I mean, when you really get down to brass tacks, and when it comes to the Cavs and all their problems, there is a common denominator for every team that has had this player. They have come close, but never close enough. And the narrative, I can't. You can't argue the narrative. No matter wherever this man goes, there is a fleeting moment of success, but not ultimate glory. He can't win. He's a choker, and he's still good enough in the regular season that he's going to be signed somewhere. But good luck winning a championship. You can't do it.
Also, Ian, we may need to have some very serious discussions about Donovan Mitchell, too.
Oh, man.
Good regular season player, but if he's your number one option come playoff time, good luck winning a championship.
Yeah, no, you don't. Look, the Cavs. I thought the Cavs had something with Mitchell. No, that they bring in Hart, who I get it. He's a scorer. Can't play defense for the lick, but he's a scorer when he's making his shots. He's one of the better scorers in the NBA. But good Lord, when it comes to the playoffs, he is a liability. He is a fish on the deck of a boat. And honestly, he can't even flop that good anymore because he doesn't get calls like he used to.
Oh, we're talking about. Oh boy.
That's a good one, Ian.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. Again, I thought, especially initially when you guys and I stepped away for a minute because I had to get things settled, but as far as initially getting Donovan Mitchell, I would be very excited for the Cavs. You got a big man in Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, who you want Evan Mobley to take another step. And then I thought, okay, you get a little bit farther there with Kenny Atkinson, and then you force it a little bit with James Harden. And I know you didn't get what you wanted initially with J.B. Bickerstaff, but what did J.B. Bickerstaff do wrong? If you would have just kept your roster and improved it as it was moving forward outside of Harden, you'd probably be in a better spot.
You know, now that I think about it, perhaps Cleveland got a little too greedy once they made the second round and losing to Boston. They drank the Kool-Aid, fired Bickerstaff way too early once the contention window opened, and then jumped on Kenny Atkinson, who, by the way, not a bad coach, but his ego got way too much in the way in this Eastern Conference final. But when you're saying that you're trailing a series, you can't say analytically we're the better team. You're down in the series and you're about to get swept. Yes. And these players we felt like we were the better team in the series. You got blown out several times and you blew a 22-point lead in game one. The series felt like it was over there. What are you doing?
Yeah, when you have those quotes, and you said it exactly right, you lost the plot for me. As a basketball fan, you lost the plot for your own fans that root for your team. Everybody's going to think you're absolutely crazy, and then you go in the offseason and say, geez, what do we do now?
Yeah, that was horrid, that quote.
It's like, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I mean, there's a clear comparison, there's a clear cross-sport comparison to be made, and it's a team that you know, Alec, rather well. How many times did Mike Sullivan say after a loss, but we outplayed them in this period and this period? It doesn't matter. You
Doesn't
still
matter.
you still lost.
It doesn't matter how much you outplayed them by. You have to get the capitalize the chances in which you get them at.
That sounds like Sheldon Keefe.
Well, and with all due apologies to Devils fans, by the way.
Yeah, I'm getting some bad flashbacks because I heard that a lot with Derek Lalonde, who was the former Red Wings head coach and everything else. I'm just hoping we get this turnaround here for the Carolina Hurricanes so we have something good to think about, because I don't want to think about a 2-0 series deficit heading into Saturday. I'd be happy to be on the mic and call this stuff with you guys, but I don't want the Stanley Cup Finals to end prematurely. I certainly didn't want to get all the news that I got earlier throughout the day, but I was glad to talk to you about. I just want to see this stuff get extended so we can call more games.
Yeah. No matter how long this series goes, because a 2-0 series deficit would be an outright bummer for all of us. We need to have this be a series round.
Yeah, because I do think no matter what happens, as you said, Alec, you go between Vegas or Carolina, whoever lifts it. Both teams have good squads. There's going to be plenty to do in the offseason. A lot of these teams now with the cap going up and up have money, so it should be eventful to be able to make a lot of changes. I'm just looking forward to see what will change in this third period, and before we actually get a chance to start it, I'll just leave it to you, Mr. Nava. What's got to change most for Carolina? I know scoring goals, but who's going to be the one to light the fire? What do you want to see?
I would want to see more of the second line light the fire, because this you can say again. I'm a broken record saying this, but it bears saying. This has been Carolina's best line of the entire playoffs, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. But the first line, I feel there needs to be a switch. As John Buccigross noted, you can suggest putting Nikolai Ehlers on the top line next to Sebastian Aho and move Seth Jarvis down to the third line next to Jordan Martin and Jordan Staal. He has experience playing on the third line before. You keep Svechnikov on the top line while you have Ehlers and Aho there. That worked out earlier in the season. This was the lineup in which Rod Brind'Amour used in the January game against the Dallas Stars, and it worked.
So, no matter what happens here, well, I guess depending on the result, I will have a critical question for you quickly in the postgame, but we will leave it at that. Ian, if I can have you chime in here very quickly before the start of the third. Carolina, chances from 0 to 100%. What are the chances they get this tied in the third?
I'm going to give them a generous 40.
40. So at least we're going to say that there's something. I think that might be generous as well, but I think we're all leaning it that way. I know everybody outside, I'm just going to say this honestly for prosperity purposes. There might be some people that don't still like Vegas after all the moves and over the years, but I've said my hate's lessened over the years from the things that they've done. Yes, they can be cold and calculated, but they're a well-run organization that wants to win at all costs. Alec mentioned it alongside the heel. He mentioned the Thunder, the Dodgers, the Kansas City Chiefs. You need that good heel there. Vegas is just a well-run team right now, and they've got to continue to do what they're doing. The shot attempts are 50 to 27, but again, just because you're leading that, as we talked about, doesn't mean a thing. Got to find pay dirt. But for me, as I mentioned, 13 to 7 on the giveaways. That's what I'm keeping my eye in on. You got to be better with the puck.
You have to, and take care of the puck more if you're Carolina. You cannot have those giveaways continue on to the third period. No team would get away with that.
So we'll see what we'll get, ladies and gentlemen. It is a 2-0 lead as we get set to start the third period. Brett Howden with both goals in each period. We're going to start with the third line for Rod Brind'Amour's squad. You got Dorofeyev, Jack Eichel, got top line boys out there right now. For John Tortorella's squad, all they do is win the Vegas Golden Knights alongside John Tortorella. Here we go. Slavin now. We'll send this in among the inboards. Hanifin off the drop. Here's Jack Eichel. You got Dorofeyev with him across the right. Eichel trying to get an inside out. We'll get a whistle at 1946.
That That was an icing against Vegas, in which it was early. The Hurricanes are 23-7-0 following a loss, which is the most wins in the NHL regular season and postseason.
That is something to keep an eye on, Alec. I appreciate that information. Again, you're trying to find something to cling to here. Shot board reads 15-11. That's all we got right now, as we're really just getting away in this third period. Drawn out here alongside Alec Nava and Ian Genge from the Lenovo Center in Carolina. Vegas has a 1-0 series advantage. This is the site for Game 2. We're leading after the second. Vegas is 8-0 in the postseason, 23-3 overtime losses in the regular season with no regulation losses. It's picked up now for Dorofia. We'll send this one down deep into the trapper, Freddie Andersen. And now we're going to start to get a few stoppages here as we're still getting going in the third.
And now, Carolina is trying to figure out what to do now. Because of the deficit, and if you lose this, you cannot want to lose this. You're staring at a 2-0 series deficit should you fall behind in this game. Right now, Carolina has their backs against the wall. As he said, they open. This is as much win as it gets.
Yes, it is. And keep in mind again, no Braden McNabb for the rest of this game. He only had a handful of shifts from the first period before taking a puck to the face. That is one of the best defensemen that Vegas has. And Carolina has that opening. Not to mention that everyone else in Vegas can still play defense alongside with their forwards. But you got an advantage here that you got to take the front foot on. As it's picked up here for Taylor Hall. Long outstretched pass, Stankoven. He just missed the left side bar, then he got wiped out in amongst the end boards. As this will be picked up now, Marner will go for a flip. This will go back to him, and he will take it the length of the ice as this will get gloved down by Stanky Leg. We'll send this back around now to Keandre Miller, and Sean Walker will work his way off the ice. Everybody will get wholesale changes for Rod Brind'Amour's squad. They'll be going right to left in the mix of the black and red striping the Carolina Hurricanes. It'll be left to right for the Vegas Golden Knights in their road whites with the black pants and the gold and red striping on the legs. Slavin, take a long outstretch. That was way too far for Chatfield. Just an inauspicious pass. There's been a lot of that. Vegas has been cutting off a lot of the angles, but you can do that when you got a 2-0 lead. As there's another beautiful read across center ice. Freddie Andersen now will stop this with the goal stick. Jacob Slavin off the long bumper pass will be iced against Carolina. They're trying to shoot for the home run. They got to go for some singles.
But yes, as you mentioned, I like the baseball analogy. Carolina is just doing too much home run plays with the long clears. You have to just skate across the red line and just shoot this down if you don't see an opening. Just go for the singles or the doubles if it is just at the red line.
Nick Dowd, get a chance to take this now. I appreciate, Alec, that you like that, because I was kind of thinking the same way to say some things that we're talking about, because you don't want to beat the drum too much, but that's what we're getting right now. And you know, Carolina is dealing with it right now. And I say that because it's 18:22 left in the third. There's so much time. Just stick with your game here as it's down. Back to Andersen. Andersen now will drive across the right side red line, makes one man miss. Wide open, does not shoot, and then lets it go as this bounces off of Iho. That's a rare mistake there for Vegas. Here's a sharp angle chance. Dow trying to make something happen. Freddie was down. He canceled it off with the right pad. Rasmus Andersen, if he could have shot that initially off the pit, it could have made it 3-0. And Carolina's iced it again.
Oh, the bleeding continues for the Hurricanes as Vegas is evening up the shot board. And up against the best third period team in the NHL, that's something that you cannot do at any point. Doesn't matter what lead Vegas has or if they're behind.
And you don't want to have Nick Dowd beat Jalen Chatfield. His second work, he was able to get the puck out. Plus 10 goal differential in the third, as Alec mentioned, is the best in any period. Vegas able to shut it down. They're also able to score a ton. They don't need to right now. Here's a wrister. Bounces off the end boards. Eichel already back out there. He's so hard to take the puck off of. As this is picked up now by Barbashev, and it'll be sent back safely to the defense. Vegas can bleed the timeout. They get their chances that they want. That's all they care at this point. As Eichel bounces off the stick of Freddie Andersen. That should count as a shot. It'll be 15-15 on the board here now. As Vegas finally even that up. They had 2 shots after the first period. It's kind of turned around that way the rest of it. As it's picked up and on the inboards now for Theodore. We'll use a stick shot, get it to Barbashev near the left dot, and send it back down the ice. Carolina finally steals. Line numero tres out there, Ehlers. We'll hit this one off the glass. It'll bounce back to Keandre Miller. We'll send it in safely across the left side red line. Joining here with you alongside Alec Nava and Genge. This is Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Picked up here for Vegas. Racing up the gut across the Canes logo. Off the drop from Marner. Marner tried to find Andersen. He lost it off the forehand shovel. This will go back to defense for Wild Bill. Marner, inside out move. Nice pivot against the glass. Has it on his forehand. He waits a little too long. Gets stick lifted in tight. He'll get it back now. Marner work across the left wing. Here's Wild Bill turnaround chance. Howden was there, but the rebound didn't get there. Picked up for Noah Hanifin. Mitch Marner has got so much poise and patience with that puck. Every time he's got it, makes something happen. Shane Gostisbehere, haven't called his name in a while. Stankoven, this will be gloved out of the air by Theodore. Again, he's been mixed in the lines because of the injury to McNabb. Stone, and off the stick lift, gets the steal. This will be rolling end over end as it's Colton Sissons. Cancel into the right side glass. We'll chase with Stone. Put it in behind the net. Gostisbehere got to get rid of it quickly. He goes for the long outlet. It's a 1-on-4. Carolina with it though. After remaining behind the inboards, but because of the 1-on-4, they're going to lose the puck and then lose more time. This will be sent back down, and Vegas will finally be guilty of an ice at 15:42.
The 1-on-4 that you mentioned, that Carolina is just doing a little too much being pretty with it. That they are waiting up for some help, but they can't find it because either they're just having their teammates on a line change, or they're just trying to do too much with the play. Just settle for the simple play and wait for the help to arrive.
I want to say this, I haven't mentioned TOI in a while. Jacob Slavin at 16:28, and Jalen Sheffield leads everybody at 17:32. But right now, Shane Gostisbehere only has 9 minutes and 45 seconds, and he was one of the best defensemen from Game 1, so why is he getting such less time? As this is sent in behind the inboards. Chatfield, now from Slavin, down to the left side corner. Picked up by Jalen Chatfield off the turnaround. As this will be recollected, Jalen will send it around the boards one more time. About 5 minutes now have expired from the third. I'll be getting set to hand this off to Mr. Nava pretty quickly. Picked up here by Stone. We'll chip it off the glass and out to Jacob Slavin. Let it roll end over end as the forwards can take a change for Rod. And we'll get a whistle at 14:57.
There's so much in which Vegas is shutting off Carolina on the offensive chances, and they're making life easier for Carter Hart. The defense has stood its ground, and that's been the common theme that we're going to see a more defensive battle here in Game 2. Vegas has understood the assignment.
Yes, they have, and I'll say this about Carter Hart, and I don't mean this as any sort of disrespect, but for the rough year that Adin Hill's had over from the 3 years ago when he won the Stanley Cup, you could put Adin Hill in the goal crease right now and the score line would still be the same, Alec.
Yeah, the score might be the same, even with Adin Hill in the net.
Dowd, we'll get a chance to take this one again. Keegan Kolsar had this bounce near the right side of the glass, another hopeful pass. Jordan Martinook wipes out in front of the players' bench. Dowd tried to force a steal. Carolina finally pick it off on their own end. They don't go the way of Nikishin. They'll go for the long flip. They'll go right to Noah Hanifin. You're going to have to keep beating that drum because that's what keeps on happening. As this is settled back around now. Picked up for Martinook. They mix it out with Aho. He gets double teamed in the left side corner. Stays on his feet. Settle back across the left side red line for Hanifin. Turn around now for Svechnikov. Just one shot in this series. And that came in the first period about 3 minutes in, if you can believe that. This is a long flip from Vegas, and this will not be iced. It's Alex Nikishin now. Part of that third line, he's usually out there with Shane Gostisbehere. This was fumbled back and behind the net. Carolina's going to take a little bit of time to break out now. Here's Ghost, sitting in behind the inboards. 13:50 thereabouts left in the third. Puck rolls on the opposite side of the dot. Miller. This will be gloved up high by Carter Hart. Will snatch it like a can of corn out of the air at 13:48.
Well, my feed is about a minute behind now. I don't know what's happening up with it's slowing up erratically, and I can't catch up.
So if I need to pick you up in any sort of way, or just reset it here during the commercial break, you should be good here, but let me know. We got to pause at 13:48.
Well, my feed is all erratic. Oof, oh boy.
Well, I'll pick you up the whole way until we need to change it back, and then when you get settled back at the halfway point, you can take over here, Alex. So we'll keep you in the bullpen nonetheless, and we'll keep things going. But if we can find a way to get that squared away, I'll hand it right back to you when it's time.
All right, then.
Oh boy. So I'm just going to give you this as well. I'll pull this back up for the recorder side. As far as time on ice, again, Brayden McNabb, when he took that puck to the face, he had 7 shifts at 5:39. Who's picked up the slack? You'd expect your other top line of Shea Theodore at 19:33 to do that. Jeremy Lauzon has played 15:47. That's more than Noah Hannafin, if you can believe that. And then Rasmus Andersen at 16:03. When you compare that, and between the 5 defensemen to 6, that's why I mentioned that to Alec a little bit earlier. I was surprised that Shane Gostisbehere had such few minutes, because you think Tortorella, especially with the lead, you can do so, you can balance it well, but all things considered, that time on ice is pretty good for the back end for Vegas.
That is, and with Dylan Coghlan getting just 10:31 of ice time, that prioritizes the ice time to everybody else. Theodore has got workhorse on the back end that Vegas has been having for this entire core ever since he was selected in the expansion draft. And he's developed into their trusty and reliable #1 defenseman, and they trust him enough to deliver all of the situations, whether it be power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5. He can do it all, and he got him a spot on Team Canada.
Right now for Carolina and the Finns, it is 4 shots. No points. Again, no points for anyone else. That's what would happen for goals. And I say Finns because they end up getting the gold in at the Worlds. Canada couldn't even beat Norway, so they didn't even get a bronze after the United States got knocked out. How about that? As this was sent in amongst the end boards, won by Ehlers. Try to get picked up there for Jarvis. So we are getting a little bit of line juggling that John Butchergross was hoping he would see. Rod Brind'Amour electing to do that, trying to get something going as Staal gets hit in amongst the end boards, but it gets thrown right to Vegas. Long outstretch, Eichel on a one-on-one. They'll see that. He had to elude a hit. He threw a backhand and went right to Ehlers. Ehlers will chip it in to Carter Hart. Safely across the red line away from Shea Theodore. Here's Keandre Miller. Keandre going to let the forwards take a change maybe before he gets off the ice, but not before it goes right to left. Taylor Hall gave it back to him as it's rimmed in amongst the end boards, and now Hall will work his way across the right wing. 9 points in playoffs leads Carolina D-men. He's done everything right, he just doesn't have a goal. Big hit. Picked up now for Jalen Chatfield. He gets picked off, and this one goes up in the air and wide off a Marner chance.
Oh, that was very close for Jalen Chatfield from the looks of it. I'm just getting the Nikolai Ehlers face-off. But yes, the feed is still behind. Yes, he mentioned about this. Rob Brind'Amour juggling the line sub. He did put Jarvis on the third line and put Martinook on the first line, which I was expecting Ehlers to be moved up, not Martinook.
Marner's slap shot hit the left post as it's a face-off win for Vegas. 2 goals, 3 shots for Brett Howden as he was being profiled. The former Golden Knight will carry a long flip. This goes down in the zone now for Shea Theodore and cross ice, rolling end over end, and this will not be far enough for icing. Shots per game in the playoffs, 33.4, 32.2 in the regular season. Carolina was first and second respectively in that mark. They've not been outshot in any playoff game at this point, but right now it's 16-15 and Carolina's down 2-0. Long outstretch across the left side red line. Here it goes end over end now for Rasmus Andersen and Noah Hannafin. Calgary boys back on the second line. Hannafin turns it over. Sebastian Aho needs reinforcements. Near the left side dotted drop for Gostisbehere. High slot and Nikishin gets his Slap shot blocked, and this will go down the other way. Here's a race for it now. Tomas Hertl will backpedal, as this will be an opportunity for Carolina. Up the ice. Here is Gostisbehere, as Nikishin would look. This is intercepted by Marner. Wrister, saved by Hart, but the rebound goes to the right dot, right to Vegas. And they'll clear it out. Long outstretched. This bounces off the glass and stays in play. Jordan Martin back around for Nikishin. Goes still out there now. Makes one pivot. This goes back to Alex near the right dot. He'll look for a direct pass up the gut, but it's intercepted by Vegas. Here is a stick lift attempt. Jarvis can't get to it. Picked up for Keegan Kolesar. Picked the long flip, get off the ice. 10:55 left to go here in the third. Alec, do you think you're going to be set here? I know you'll be a little bit delayed, but is your feed stable?
You are more than a full minute ahead of me, John. My feed's working normally now, but you are a full minute ahead of me.
Okay, so I might steal your play-by-play now, but then I'll give it back to you in Saturday. Is that okay?
All right, that sounds good with me.
All right, so Ehlers' chance. This one goes wide. Picked up now by Carolina Nikishin. Here's a slapper. This is deflected. Wide of Hart. Back around the inboards now for Keandre Miller. There's Hart. He was out of the goal crease for the minute. Might have went off the outside of the post. Carolina now finally getting some possession as the crowd rising to their feet. 10:10 left to go in the third as this rolls end over end. Carolina will get an ice, but the crowd got loud. It was sustained zone pressure for about 45 seconds. Carter Hart probably got some help on one of those posts, but it's still 2-0.
And Carolina needs that sustained zone pressure because there's not enough of that from this in the third period of this game. They need more sustained zone pressure if they were to crack a chance at Vegas.
Shot got deflected by Jordan Staal off of Carter Hart, and then the rebound got sailed wide. That is what we had in the previous look. 10:07 left to go in the third. Vegas still up 2-0. Block shots 21-11 for VGK. Carolina finally got some momentum going, but they got to get on the scoreboard. Still got half a period in regulation to do so. Taylor Hall. Now for Jack Eichel. It's picked up by Hannafin behind the goal crease. Jacob Slavin off the tie-up. We'll send this in. Noah Hannafin. Try to get it back out to Barbashev. Bounced off his blade and going to the Carolina bench as we'll get a stoppage at 9:48.
This is where, as I just refreshed my feed, yes, I did see the sustained zone pressure. You wonder how little ice time Gostisbehere and Nikishin are going to use. Jordan Staal with the tip on one of those chances. That was like 45 seconds in which you mentioned. Jordan Staal redirected one of those shots that went for the point. And Sebastian Aho's brief scoring chances, 7 shot attempts. But Vegas, this is a John Tortorella team. And if you know what the makings of a John Tortorella team, look at the shot blocks that they have, 21 of them.
Yeah, you absolutely said it right, Alec. Again, we talked about it in the preview. That is what John Tortorella's squads do. That's what he pretty much tells these guys to do. If you're going to need some extra ice packs, do it. Make sure you block your shots. Try to help your goalie out. And dare I say it, you know, when the Golden Knights won the Cup 3 years ago against the Florida Panthers, a little bit of a defensive group. Obviously, no Zach Whitecloud, no Alex Pietrangelo, not as much heavy hitting, more speed when you got Rasmus Andersen and Noah Hannafin. But I can say they look just as good as they did 3 years ago when they lifted that thing.
And the only holdovers from that defense were McNabb and Shea Theodore. Nick Hay got traded for Jeremy Lauzon.
Yep.
Good physical presence. You sub out Zach Wyckoff for Rasmus Andersen. You had more offensive firepower with defensive intensity. Noah Hannafin, same thing. Brandon McNabb's still there. Shea Theodore still the strongest ever. And also, Caden Korsak / Dylan Coghlan. Good shutdown defensive playing that Wyckoff.
Absolutely right. All the way across the board. Some of the other moves that they made, again, you get the addition for Cole Smith. You're bringing them in there. Keegan Kolesar, dependable as ever on the bottom line. And Colton Sissons comes over from Nashville. I thought he's been pretty good throughout the times that he has played. It's just really pieces that you brought in. I know you made a gamble, maybe about last year for Tomas Hertl, but he's fit in. But it's pieces that kind of aid everything in alongside Eichel and Marner and Stone, right?
Yeah, pieces to aid them.
9:48. Let's go in the third as we get a little bit of delay on the face-off. Scoring chances by period 2-5-4 for Vegas, 11-1-1 for Carolina. Just 2 scoring chances in about 30 minutes of action. Play at the net, scores! Staal, he gets the face-off and then backhands it in, and Carolina gets on the board. It's their second scoring chance, and they get a goal.
Finally, the shutout streak is over for Carter Hart, and he will remain without a shutout in this postseason. I get to see how the goal develops, but Carolina needs that badly. The sustained offense's zone pressure what may have been a sign in this third period, and they needed this. It is the second line who does it again.
It is a clean steal behind the net of Rasmus Andersen, a thievery play, and a backhand that bounces off of the skate of Lozon and beats Carter Hart.
Right off the faceoff too. It's not a set play, but it's a really good play. He sent it off his backhand.
That is a wonderful, wonderful play from the former Dallas Star, or maybe I should say Plano Stars going forward. I know we didn't get a chance to talk about that. If this doesn't get to another period, maybe we will. As Rasmus Andersen talking with John Tortorella, letting him know what he sees. But what I see on the scoreboard right now is 2-1. As this is sent in now. And Carolina winning the draw. How much momentum are they going to get out of this? Because they are back into this game, just like it was in Game 1 when it finished 5-4, when Shane Gostisbehere tied it at 4. Now to the right side, as this gets knocked away and sent back down. Golden Knights have iced this puck at 9:16, and this crowd is getting very loud.
Alright, so I refresh it. I'm about 30 seconds behind. My feed works normally now after several seconds of work being erratic, but what a hard-working goal for Stanko as he backed it off Hart. It might have bounced off Lozon, but nonetheless it found its way to the back of the net. Once again, John, it's not going to be a pretty goal. It's going to be a greasy goal. And Stankoven backed up what I was saying.
Picked up now for a long flip. Marner will chase this in the corner. A little bit of a reverse. Howden took a heavy hit. No fault of his own. Had to make one man miss. Here's Svechnikov off a rush. That one goes just wide. Keandre Miller keeping alive near the left side red line. Here's a chance for Aho. He just keeps it in. He's playing defensive duties at the moment. This goes back to Aho. High slot. Now Keandre Miller left out. Deflection. It was loose in the middle and picked off by Stone. Stone now will send this back down the ice. Keandre Miller has it behind his own net. Everybody's standing and waving the towels because that Stankoven goal ignited this crowd. It made it 2-1. Here's a long flip. Picked up now near the left side. Jarvis gets his stick chopped away from Shea Theodore. 8:10 left to go in this third. And on the tie-up now for Jordan Staal. Tomas Hertl can't find the puck. Try to throw this back out to the point. Colton Sissons steals. Gets this across center ice. Gostisbehere activates. The left side from Ehlers off the drop. Staal try to play some defense. And this will be sent back down to Stankoven. Now to Jordan Staal as they'll flip sides. Shane Gostisbehere will provide the back support. Go Canes go chance. As this is sent back around now for Nikishin. Got to be careful here. Chip this off the glass. Vegas now can steal. And behind their own net for Nick Dowd. Able to kill some time at least. Here's a rush end over end. And it will be iced against Carolina. I will leave this to you, Alec, if you want to take the rest of it.
Right, I'm currently at 8:15, third period. What does your clock say?
It's at 7:27, but I can leave it for you.
So right now I'm getting the puck battle at the near corner. So I am further back, and yes, the feed is semi-functional, but it's back to fully functional right now. I am getting the play towards the right side of Carter Hart. The fans are waving their towels, so I'm going to be telling What I have right now, this is, and John, thanks for calling the Logan Stankoven goal. There are some towels that are obstructing the camera, but can you really blame these fans? They are on their feet, they're back and energized, and they feel that their Hurricanes have the momentum. 7:30 left on my side, as it's a foot race for the puck, which is won by Noah Hannafin, and finally, we get the icing here.
I'm glad.
So, this is where we're at, and Plano Stars, that doesn't have a nice ring to it, John.
I'm going to say I'm glad I'm leaving this to you. It is only correct. You take us the rest of the way.
10 goals for Logan Stankoven this postseason, which is tied with Eric Staal for second in a single postseason run. The all-time single postseason leader is none other than head coach Rod Brind'Amour. Here's Andersen who gets shoved away. This bounces in front of Freddie Andersen, which will be picked up on the defensive left circle. Now Staal in front for William Carey gets sandwiched. Here's Jankowski. He scores! Jankowski has tied it!
Will Carey end up making it happen as this bounces. That's a beautiful shot off the right post. No chance for Carter Hart. You just get one. Stankoven ignites it. Carolina ties this. Again, we talked about their percentages with Ian Genge. Whether or not Carolina's got the chance, he said generously 40%. Now it's 100%.
But now it's tied at 2, and John Tortorella wants to take a look with video coach Dave Rogowski for the possibility of offsides. But I think William Carey had possession. He got pinned down at the blue line by Jeremy Lauzon. And if you get pinned down at the blue line, that's not offside. That's interference.
We have a good goal, and we have Bedlam at Lenovo.
Yes, it is a good goal. John Tortorella is not challenging this goal. He considered the possibility of using a challenge with Rogowski. And finally, Jankowski, who had a goal taken away from him in the Ottawa series in overtime, finally is on the board. And it took him until the 14th game of this postseason to score the tying goal. It's the fourth line that does it. Back into Stankoven, his pass goes outside the zone. Carolina sends this back deep. It is Hart on play far side. Bounces up, settled down, and cleared out over to Marner. Marner at the far side, chased down by Blake. Mitch Marner, stick with it by Jordan Staal, and it goes behind the net. And my feet is slowing up 6:40 left, and it's played out through center. It'll be picked up by Vegas. Dylan Cogg went up the near side. Tomas Hertl on the chase down is Keandre Miller to poke it away. Miller places up, and to the far side. The Hurricanes have a grade A chance. Through the far side, and Vegas does an excellent job of denying that. How impressive is it that Carolina, down by 2 against the best third period team by goal scoring differential, has tied the game up 2-2 as this goes out of play.
And Rasmus Andersen, I said that earlier in the second period about him being a team best +2. He was the one that gets picked off by Logan Stankoven there, and then the puck bounces away from him and Lauzon that allows Jankowski to ring it off the pipe, bar down and in. That +2 goes back to even. This game's square.
And that was a bold-headed mistake by Jeremy Lauzon for pinning down his man William Carey at the blue line, because any other day, John, that would have been called an interference penalty.
Absolutely. You can't make key mistakes. And now Carolina's back into this game.
Jankowski off the faceoff as Walker falls down on the chase down. Here is a severing pass saved by Freddie Andersen. Alexander Nikisha released the rush right back with 6 minutes left in regulation. Eric Robinson gets sandwiched by Noah Hannafin. Onto the far half boards. It's cleared out by Nick Down. Now, should this game go to overtime, Carolina and Vegas are both undefeated in playoff overtimes, and Carolina has won 7 in a row. Robinson keeps his foot. No, he did not keep his foot on the blue line. Offside the call. The brand new hockey game, 2-2 after Vegas led by 2. 5:46 left in the third period.
Man, roll the dice. That's all you can say. The only thing I'm thinking of now is how important the next 2.5 minutes are going to be. Again, you had a 4-4 game just the other day when Shane Gostisbehere getting one off the face-off before that dog pass to Tomas Hertl. Got to make sure now if you're Carolina, at least keep this tied, but do not give up anything in this next set of 3 minutes. You don't want to have a repeat of game 1.
You don't, because you're playing your backs against the wall, staring at a 2-0 deficit if you lose this. Now, we expected a tighter game, and we did get ourselves a tighter game. Logan Stanko and Mark Jankowski have ensured such that we get a more defensive version of a tight game. And it's played that way, John. For two teams that are more defensive-oriented, it's paramount that these two teams play their game. And we've seen them both exactly do that.
And you said for every single time Carolina in that series they get to OT, they love 3-2 as that final score line. Could we get that tonight?
Well, 3-2 may be their magic score line, John, if you're a Hurricanes fan.
See what we get. We got about 5:30 left to go in the third.
No, we're just getting back into action here at Raleigh, North Carolina. After driven by 2, Carolina is back from the dead. Brett Howden 2, Carolina 2, because both of Vegas' goals have come from Brett Howden, who has a franchise postseason timing record, 13 goals in a single postseason, tied with Jonathan Marchessault in a cup-winning run 3 years ago. Jankowski is matched up with Dowd at center ice. It is won by Jankowski with help. Nikishin had this one denied up the far side. Nikishin replaced Keandre Miller on the second power play unit. That doesn't have much of a spark. This puck reaches Andersen as he places out behind his crease. It'll be moved up the near side for Jankowski. Dowd has it poked away, and it's poked further by Kolesar. Cole Smith sends this behind Freddie. It'll be picked up near corner. Now the single seat is occupied in this tie hockey game. Icing against the Canes with 5:17 as Jankowski sent it in. He'll have to stay on the ice of his line.
I cannot wait for you to get what you're about to get on your screen. I will not let anyone else take that call away from you. My goodness gracious.
Are you tempting fate on me, John?
You're about to jump out of your seat, maybe.
Here we go. 5:17 left. Towels waiting here at Lenovo Center. Tie above the draw. This will be Jankowski. Jankowski on the backhand. It'll be Shea Theodore. Theodore moves it up. Sliced away. Here's Barbashev. Takeaway. Save Andersen. Rebound. Oh! Freddie! Are you kidding?
We're going to have to figure out everything about this Freddie Andersen with a miraculous save. And now I don't know if John Tortorella is going to be challenging this, or if it's underneath him, or if it gets pried loose. We're going to have a lot of housekeeping to do here.
Oh my goodness. Ivan Barbashev on the initial chance and the second one. Freddie Andersen seems to have covered this up. Well, we'll have to see. Did he fully cover this up? When did the whistle blow? At what point does it blow? Did the officials think that he had it?
That's what I'm wondering, because if he just lost sight of the puck, but John Tortorella, you would think, has to challenge this.
You'd think. Now we'll have to see at what point we need. They have to get onto the video feed here on the penalty box, because they have to know when the whistle blows. That's an important factor in all of this. It seems that the Carolina defender that was on top of Freddie kicked it into his own net.
So, Ian, I know you're listening in here, but as I'm looking across from some of this, I'm going to get this. Even if Vegas loses this challenge and they go down a man, I mean, you're challenging this because you have a chance to be taking the lead right now. I think you have to do it no matter what.
I mean, I'd have to. Unfortunately, fellas, I can't see what you're seeing because there is a persistent weather alert that is continuing to to clog up ABC's feed right now.
Oh my goodness gracious.
And I'm not even sure it's for. I'm not even sure it's for Missouri right now.
So I'm the only one out of all of us that has any sort of real-time inflection here. What do? We want to enjoy this game together. I'm looking at all this stuff in the situation room here, and I think the point still stands, Alec. Regardless of what happens, if Vegas has to take a penalty here, you're challenging this just because you want to try to take the lead.
I feel that maybe, though Vegas' basis may be a curious one. I would not challenge on the basis of goaltender interference, but I'm challenging on the basis that the puck would have crossed the goal line had there been no whistle. But in your challenge, there needs to be a rule to implement that, because there's some moments in which the referees lose sight the puck, and which the puck goes in the net, and the play is whistled dead prematurely. And I know this involves a game involving one of my other favorite team, the Pittsburgh Penguins, but to this day, Predators fans are still thinking that that was a goal in the first period of Game 6 for Nashville against the Penguins, and quite honestly, I agree.
Carolina, I'm looking at some of the stuff on the replay here. Honestly, I'm just going to say it. That puck is in before the whistle.
Well, but to see Barbashev initially denied by Andersen, Jordan Staal goes on top of him, kicks it into his own net. We have to see when we're getting a call here. Well, it is no goal. The whistle had blown before the puck went in. Wow.
I'm going to say I agree with Barbashev here. I'm not trying to play favorites, but that puck was in before the whistle blew. I guess the referees didn't see it that way. Either way, we're getting a Carolina power play.
Well, which in either case, Vegas has to be licking the chops, because it is a Carolina power play, and because the penalty kill has been outstanding in this Stanley Cup final. You'd be inclined to think that whoever's on the power play in this final is sitting at a disadvantage. How? I'm so flabbergasted, John. How that was not a goal, but still, if you're Carolina, you take it. It is Staal, Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis, and Gostisbehere. The Hurricanes are 0 for 2 tonight with one shot. On the series, 0 for 4, one shot. The only shot on the power play for Carolina came tonight. Staal was kicked out. Aho comes in to take it against Sissons. Linesman Trent Norris dropped it. Now he has Aho with it. A blast on Svechnikov is blocked by Nick Dowd. Trying to get to the bench but cannot. Gostisbehere keeps. Jarvis waits. Surveys. He'll go back. Gostisbehere from the point. Doesn't load up. He'll go to Jarvis. Jarvis surveying. Across for Svechnikov, and now it's Jarvis. It's one more time. Gostisbehere. Svechnikov boxed out by Dowd. Gostisbehere steps into it and scores! The bucket in front! Carolina is back from the dead! Jordan Staal in the net front! And is the captain!
A Carolina power play actually resulted in a goal?
This is unbelievable. But that was the right call on the other end for Tortorella and Barbashev to try to challenge. Carolina gets 3 unanswered. They do the Uno reverse on Vegas.
Ha ha! How about this for Carolina? Uno reverse card. And I agree with you, John. I don't blame Vegas for challenging that. You want to take the lead for yourself. And instead the officials say, we blew the whistle too early, but if I'm a Vegas fan, I am seething right now. Because that puck seemed to be in the net just before the whistle blew. Here's Jarvis. That puck skipped by him. 4th goal in the postseason for Jordan Staal. It's the first power play goal for either team in the final. Just a second shot on goal for Carolina on the power play, and it found the back of the net. Staal has his second of the final, and he's gone 19 years. He's gone 17 years without a goal in the final. He's broken the records for the longest wait between finals goals. That was set by his brother, Eric Staal. From the far corners, Noah Andersen, tied up by Jalen Chatfield, kept in. Onto the near corner. Vegas with their backs against the walls now. Slavin can't hold. Through the far side, Jack Eichel sandwiched up. Poked away. Eichel keeps. Hold there. Backhander. Cleared out. And Carolina will exhale. Oh my goodness. Ivan Barbashev is down and hurt. Just across the Carolina blue line. He's feeling himself. He needs some attention.
He got hit, upended by Jackson Blake. Blake is going to sit in the box for 2.
They're going to say 2 minutes. Barbashev came up without a scratch, and this is the biggest kill for the Hurricanes in this final, at least in this game. Jackson Blake set a pick and just hip-checked Barbashev into a dangerous spot. Ooh, not a clean hit either. That's one that you shouldn't take if you're Blake, and Blake is shaking his head or interference, but that's textbook interference. And Vegas, with their 5-4 unit, can't tie this game up after they felt they got robbed of a goal. Earlier, just seconds before the Jordan Staal goal, Blake is still screaming from the penalty box. But on the ice are the usual 5-men, Eichel, Dorfian, Stone, Marner, and Theodore. Both Theodore on the ice now as the power play quarterback. That is in the place of Tomas Hertl. Instead is Jordan Staal, Jordan Martinook, Jacob Slavin, and Sean Walker. Keandre Miller, Face off won by Vegas as it's sent back over to Theodore. Theodore, long shot, and as blocked, Marner falls down. He gets back up onto the far half boards. Here's Theodore, surveying, Dorfian. Theodore, onto the left side. Eichel, the pass missed for Theodore, and Vegas has to reset. Shea Theodore loads up, uses the force to send this one around. Staal shoves Eichel away from the puck, but it lands onto Marner, and another miscommunication, as Marner could not find Shea Theodore. What is going on with this Vegas power play early? 2 miscommunications, and you have to reset again. Here's Eichel around, down to the near side. Watch for Carter Hart and when he's going to get pulled. We don't imagine it's going to be now, but later when it gets to around 2 minutes. Here Carolina has the puck. They can take this, run a 3-on-2, or just dump this down. They elect the latter. Sebastian Aho chasing down Shea Theodore. It'll be Theodore picking it up. Theodore waits. It will go back for Eichel. 1 minute gone on the Blake penalty. Eichel across the line. Eichel will fend this for Marner. Mitch Marner goes back for Eichel. Slavin's there. Teammates at Team USA doesn't go to Dorfian. Walking is Theodore. Left side, hard pass to Eichel from Marner. Eichel from the far corner. 2:10 left in regulation. Here's Theodore from the left point. Shea Theodore waits and goes to Eichel. Eichel backhands one down low over to Stone. 2 minutes left as Marner waits. Picked up by Robinson, and he'll send this to left in the ice. Now when does Carter Hart come out as he places behind the net? Robinson comes into the bench with 20 seconds left on a play penalty. Howden drops. It'll lead for Howden. Brett Howden moves it up the far side. Howden tries to go inside out, and down he goes. Puck loose, and this will go for Rasmus Andersen. He winds up. Glove save, Freddie Andersen, as Hart makes his way to the bench with 95.
John Tortorella going to take his time out. Carter Hart makes his way to the bench. It has been a complete reversal. And again, from game 1, when it was close enough for then Vegas to be able to steal it, it stayed close enough. Carolina takes some of those uppercuts, but they didn't get knocked out. Now it's a $1:35 left that they can even up this series with a 3-2 lead.
And not to mention, John, Brett Howden tried to sell a call right in front of Freddie Andersen. Will look like he got tripped. Good job by the officials to not call that, because that was Howden trying to sell it, if anything.
Yeah, and you imagine, as you said, there's going to be a lot to talk about after this game is done. We'll see how much more time we needed it, but there's going to be plenty of narratives.
There will be, and that's why we went with the glass half full approach after game 1. Game 2, Carolina didn't turn on until the third period when, yes, you mentioned it, John, the Canes pulled an Uno reverse card on the Golden Knights. We'll see how this goes here. 6 seconds left on the power play. 1:35 left in regulation. They'll get their six-man unit on the ice. It's the 5-man unit that was on this power play plus Tomas Hertl. It is deferred from the 5 forwards setup to get Theodore in over Tomas Hertl as Eichel is going to take this face-off down to the left of Andersen. Shots are even at 22. Off the tie-up, Chatfield gets down close to the puck. Dorfian keeps. Dorfian, Hertl, Blake is out onto the ice. It's kept in by Mitch Marner. Marner surveys. Marner to the net. Rebound score! Vegas is tied in late!
Mark Stone, yet again, right out the tunnel, the traffic in front of the net, a tie ball game, and Vegas now has the shot board lead at 23-22. This game is absolutely bonkers.
And yes, it's both captains fighting the back of the net late. Mark Stone, as it was set up from Mitch Marner, who has got himself another point this postseason, off a rebound, is once again, John, the greasy goals that'll get you up front. Right on the blue paint. As it bounced off his skates.
You've got to be able to do that. We've been calling that and asking for it. For both Carolina especially, they've done in this third, and now Vegas from Mark Stone. Whether he's in and out of the lineup, they're so much better with him. And again, we might finally get an overtime game.
3 goals in the last 4 games for Mark Stone. That's dating back to the Colorado series. 3-3 as we enter the last minute of regulation. Shane Theodore, as long foot was blocked by Jankowski. On the far side, this will go out with 54.3. Oh, this has got a whole lot more interesting.
It sure did. I want to make sure I don't jump all over you here before the end of this. I just can't believe that it changed this drastically.
It sure did. Mark Stone off a rebound, and Jacob Slavin is back out. And the speed of Brett Howden may have burnt Slavin. Now remember, these 2 teams are undefeated in playoff overtime this postseason. Vegas 3-0, Carolina 5-0. The Hurricanes have also won 7 consecutive, dating back to last year against the New Jersey Devils. Long flip right behind Carter Hart as is picked up by Seth Jarvis. Jarvis around, sandwiched by Eichel, held in by Ehlers. Nikolai Ehlers will drop it back, right point for Chatfield. Chatfield's heading hard. And here's a one-on-one chance. Mitch Marner defended well by Chatfield. Racing back is Slavin. Turn in front. Knocked away from Stone. Stone a backhander. Shut down by Freddie Andersen. Was Slavin all over him. And losing is Theodore. 15 seconds left in regulation. Marner tried to backhand this through, but he'll get this back. Down to the near side, Eichel will wait and advances further. Carolina with one last chance. Taylor Hall through the middle. Hall, 2 seconds, sandwiched out, and for the 4th time this postseason, Carolina will win a game 2 that is going to overtime.
Oh man, what a game this has been. What a series, honestly, this has been between the two. You get a 4-3 in the mix before, 5-4 I should say, now 4-3 at least for this. Goals aplenty in this series, gentlemen, something I did not expect.
Oh, it has been that type of series, but offense, check. Defense, check. Goaltending, more or less.
It is kind of an afterthought right now. They are showing some of those camera shots in between Rasmus Andersen and John Tortorella and Lozon. That was a couple mistakes that was converted by the Carolina Hurricanes. You've been waiting for that. They've been able to do that. And then Mark Stone, just before it seemed like it was going to be done, we just talked about that about 5 minutes ago, before Carolina makes their push, just find a way to close it out so Vegas doesn't get that last-minute goal. Oh, by the way, they still do. And now it's anybody's game as we get set for overtime. It says Emily Kaplan has reported that Brayden McNabb has been taken to the hospital now after the puck to the face from further evaluation.
Oh, so wishing him well in his recovery. So he's in the hospital. So we're awaiting further news from him, but we're hoping that he's okay later on, and that the injury that he took to the face is nothing too serious. Of course, in the hospital, I would imagine that he's put the game on the TVs over there, and he's obviously wanted his guys to get the win. So he's over one of the North Carolina hospitals. The watch parties at Las Vegas are going wild here.
So let's say this, Alec, and then you can jump back in. So we know Game 3 we're going to be back regardless on Saturday, June 6th. Game 4, so let's say McNabb misses Game 3. Game 4 is not till Tuesday, June 9th. So as long as everything is all squared away, he should be more than available for, you would think, Game 4 if it's just stitches and evaluations like that. But maybe not for Saturday, but most likely for Tuesday.
And most likely it's going to be Game 4 in which he's going to return. We anticipate that Caden Korzak's going to go into the lineup in Game 3 to take over McNabb's place. You can imagine that the line's going to be tweaked around a little. Lazon paired next to Theodore. You insert Korzak next to Coghlan. We'd imagine that's going to work out just fine for Vegas on their defensive side.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to step away.
All right, just to give you the scoring recap through 60 minutes of action here.
What's going on with you?
I'm going to start. My feet are hurting really bad.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it going to be too loud to keep you up? Because I can turn this stuff down.
No, you don't keep me up.
Okay.
You're fine.
Are you still good for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. So tomorrow we'll go to eat. Saturday I got one more of these, and then Sunday we got the movie.
Yeah.
I got someone else also that I went to school with or college that said they seen that movie. They said, yeah, it's worth it. Go see it. You guys have a good time.
So. I just want to say goodnight.
Yep. Love you.
Love you too. I work way too hard.
You should do.
Dave Jackson's on location with us here in Raleigh, North Carolina. All right, so now we're still 2-2. And then Carolina's going to get the goal and actually have the lead in the hockey game, which is remarkable. Jack Cassidy didn't have a single shot on goal in the first game, and he's going to likely hero that to put him up 3-2. And then you think Carolina's going to win the game in regulation. This has just been an unbelievable game for so many different reasons there, but Carolina was really coming here. They had all the momentum in the world there. You just knew once they took that penalty, this was going in the net. And sure enough, there was Staal, who's in the front of the net, left the puck, put it in it. What a massive goal for Carolina. Now you think they got the big team one, but not so fast. Well, you know what? When you need a goal, you got to use your defense. I said it before the period. They have to shoot the puck from the top. You have to shoot pucks from the top on the power play. It opens up shooting lane. They finally get the puck through. They get a goal. And then so Vegas then gets a power play, an opportunity to score on the power play. It's kept off. We're back to 5-a-side, and Vegas is going to score anyway. But what a play Marner makes there. He walks that puck to the middle of the ice, and he's so patient with the puck. He waits. And sure enough, he gets the puck through. Let's have a little bit there. Who's there? Confident. I'm okay. I'm not sure if Stone's going to hit there for the goal. I think it went off the defenseman. I think he hit it at the last second. Yeah, maybe. But doesn't matter. He wasn't scoring. But another point shot from the middle. You got to shoot off from the middle of the ice. Two perfect teams in overtime. on this post. What you got? Bonus hockey. We'll answer that when we come back. Check your socials because there's big news in the sports world. No, it's not a blockbuster trade or a big name free agent signing. The DraftKings Sports app is now available nationwide. So if you're anywhere from Florida to Texas to California, you can get in the game with the speed of sports and feel the sweat in all 50 states. The DraftKings experience you know and love, all in one easy-to-use app. Available now nationwide. New DraftKings customers spend $5 to get $200 in total bonuses. The crown is yours.
This is what you get with Cupid's zirconia status. This is new known as diamond status.
They upgraded us last week. When you want an upgrade that actually feels like an upgrade, it matters where you stay. Hansen for the stay.
With Chewy, pets get their care taken care of. With everything to be their healthiest, happiest selves. Quality meds, supplements, and nutrition at great prices. For help with health, for life with pets, there's Chewy.
Hey, Gretzky. Who's Wayne Gretzky?
He was accepted into the Hall of Fame.
That's nice. But with Discover, I get accepted basically anywhere. Oh, I got it, Dwayne Jetski.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places nationwide.
Excuse me. Who's that?
On my data tracker, I'm with me everywhere I browse.
USC is just down Texas A&M in the College World Series tournament. Oklahoma defeats Georgia Tech in the Atlanta Regional. Troy downs Florida. It's been absolute chaos at the College World Series tournament. A 1 seed went down early in this tournament. That was St. Mary's defeating UCLA in the 10th inning on May 31st. Well, now we're back here, John. I discussed some baseball news. Yes, there's a recent development with the Judge injury. That's not what the Yankees want. He's out 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, geez. That is not good news there for the Yankees. I guess they were happy that the Tigers just swept the Rays, but outside from that, not so good news.
Yeah, no, it's a stress fracture on the first rib on his right side. And the Yankees did pick up the victory over the Guardians 2-1 with Judge out of the lineup, and that's big.
Did you have any chances where you could reset your feet again? Because right now on the overtime clock for ESPN, I have it just outside of 4 minutes before we get set for starting again.
Mine says 5:25, and it's running normally, by the way.
Okay. So I'm just going to make sure that you can start this at least for probably 10 or 15, because I know I took a few of your minutes away. And then if for any stretch, if we get a situation where we get a longer OT, I got the square away there for Lauren, so she's not going to be kicking my butt. I'll just try not to be too loud.
Oh,
So.
We can't bear the possibility of a long OT because that would be exhausting for the fans, for the players, for the coaches, even for us broadcasters.
Yeah, I'm just glad that we got the little bit of excitement that I know that I wanted to have you get, and you had some really good calls there. I didn't want to step all over you. I'm just glad to see Carolina have some fight back. And you know what? As soon as you get that first goal there for Logan Stankoven, kind of start to ignite some things. It gave you the sense, Alec, it really did, that Carolina got life, and they really started stepping on the gas.
Oh, yes. It's a gas pedal that which has been pressed. Now, could it be 8 straight overtime wins? Carolina's hoping so, and I'm personally hoping so for my own selfish reasons. A tie series is what the Hurricanes need. For Vegas, it's for it to go up 2-0 in a series, but let's call our shots here. Let's take our picks. Let's start with you, John.
All right, so for the visiting Vegas Golden Knights, again, they're without the services of Braden McNabb, and I'm already seeing too much for Brett Howden. I'm not going to go ahead for the hat trick. Give me somebody off the board here. I'll go with Colton Sissons for the Vegas Golden Knights, and for the Carolina Hurricanes, I think it's about time you pick somebody on that top line. You got to see them get it done. Give me Seth Jarvis.
All right, so here I go. I'm calling my shots here. For the Hurricanes, I'm going to go with a redemption arc here. He took the late penalty, in which it led to the tying goal for Mark Stone. I think he's going to get his revenge here, Jackson Blake. And for Vegas, this may be an easy name to say, but he's only scored twice this postseason, even for his 17 assists. But if there's a time to strike here, this should be it. Jack Eichel.
I like that there. Again, he's known for big propensity. He had an earlier goal there against Colorado and threw out, and just like to shoot the puck a little bit more because he's such a good assist man. But I like that there. I really like our picks. What about you, Ian?
So for Vegas, who did you say for Vegas, John? I don't want to.
I went off the board, so you don't have to worry about that. I took Colton Sissons.
You know what? So for Vegas, I'm gonna go Mitch Marner. Just it's an easy choice, but I feel like if someone's gonna do that, it's gonna be either Eichel or Marner. And for Carolina, I'm gonna go a little bit outside the pale, but not really, because he's already scored or assisted in scoring. I'm gonna go with the Ghost. I'm gonna go with Shane Gostisbehere.
I think in between the three of us, one of us is going to at least get an assist, if not a goal.
Perhaps, maybe, but Marner, that would be a fitting of a storybook pick.
Playoff overtime goals. I know Alec will get to this in a moment, but Dorofeyev, Howden, Theodore, Blake, Ehlers, Hall, Martinook, Svechnikov. And as Alec mentioned, both teams undefeated in overtime. That is going to change, so that'll be exciting to see. They were a combined 8-0 going in, but somebody's getting their first blemish.
That's true. And that was also the case in Game 5 between Vegas and Anaheim. Somebody was going to get their first loss. We're a minute away on my side, tied at 3 apiece in the third period. Logan Stankoven, Mark Jankowski, and Jordan Staal. Depth scoring has been a boom for Carolina, and Jordan Staal has 3 playoff overtime winners to his credit. Two of them came in 2021. The other in 2019. That was the first of his career, and it was a Shane Gostisbehere shot that was deflected home by Staal that led to the go-ahead goal for Carolina. So this is a game 2 for Carolina. It's going to overtime. What else is new? The only difference is the final score will be different. It's going to be 4-3 instead of 3-2.
And keep in mind, as long as this goes, Again, no McNabb. We talked about the hospital update. Maybe he comes back by game 4. But the longer this goes, advantage Carolina.
Exactly. And also a quick shout out to the North Carolina health system, as it's one of the best on the eastern seaboard in the United States, whether it be UNC Health or Duke Health. Always want to pay our respects to the doctors that are out there in North Carolina for working very hard and keeping everybody healthy and safe, whether it be through illnesses or injuries. We need 20 minutes minimum or maximum is TBD. John Theodore has changed things up. He's starting the Karlsson line against the Stankoven line. Their side is sent down to Liberty Ice. Chasing after Stankoven as he's first to the puck, pinned by Andersen. Knocked away, and on the backhand, this will be shifted towards the corner of the right circle. Held at the right point by Hall. Hall, long shot, walked in front off a teammate. That's his Blake. Whips one around, past Stankoven, and held it by Miller. Miller around Andersen, a former Carolina Hurricane, as everybody is on their feet. Lead pass behind the fence is a little too far. No icing here as Vegas is first to the puck. From the near half boards, it's sent out. Stankoven on the rush. Stankoven to the left. It is Hall. Hall shoots one on Hart, and he'll play this off as Carolina changes. Go to near side. Howden is bumped, and Freddie Andersen will play this out onto the near half boards. Shaw Walker down the distance. Bouncing puck is collected by the Knights and moved up down the near side. Vegas 3-0. Carolina 5-0 in playoff overtime. This postseason as Freddie will hang on to his bread basket. As you mentioned, the longer this goes, advantage Carolina.
You would have to think so, Alec. Again, you wouldn't mind that. Carolina's had a ton of postseason rest. Vegas has had some too. But you feel pretty good to just be in this spot. Now you run out of adrenaline.
And you want to keep pounding it down on Vegas, no pun intended. No reference to the Carolina Panthers intended. Staal tied up, but he wins the faceoff as it's cleared down through the middle, recollected by the Golden Knights. Through the near side, it gets shoved away. Keandre Miller's back at the near corner. Through the far side, Vegas. Move away defense as it gets a bounce and lands onto Hart. Seth Jarvis tried to pounce on it, but Hart hangs onto it.
It's one of those ones I wanted to see get going there. Seth Jarvis, part of that top line. Get a big point and get your team back to a series tie.
We are 79 seconds removed in the first overtime period in sudden death. Vegas 26, Carolina 25 in shots on goal. Tied at 3, Game 2 Stanley Cup Final. Vegas took Game 1, 5-4. It is Eichel against Aho. Top line against top line. Brind'Amour in the place of Jarvis, who's bumped down to the third line. Svechnikov out to Aho. A long shot went wide. Held in at the right side by indication. Onto the near corner, lands onto Brind'Amour. Brind'Amour gets shoved off the puck. Vegas trying to clear, cannot go out. Held at the near corner by Svechnikov onto the right point, Nikishin. Now Gostisbehere, a long shot, save Hart. Onto the far corner, Andersen, held in by the Hurricanes. And it'll be collected at the near half board by Aho. Now down low for Svechnikov as he tries to get away from Coghlan. Svechnikov pinned down. Eichel grabs the puck away from Svechnikov, but is held in at the point. Carolina Keys, bouncing puck, went wide to Svechnikov. Good job by Coghlan for Svechnikov to not get that. Vegas advances and Barbashev gets it out. Aho has it knocked loose by Barbashev. Eichel also there. Tie up at center ice. Svechnikov gets it ahead over to Aho. He's back up to the far half boards and whips this one around, goes out for a change. The Golden Knights back on the fence. As this is played onto the far side. Cannot be picked up, the Hurricanes keep it. Onto the far corner, this is a centering pass that gets knocked away. Played out. Bolas touched it.
Think you're going to be safe there, Alec. You're just going to stay in the zone, and it's going to be a very tired Vegas group from what you see from Jack Eichel and company.
Yeah, Eichel's been out there for a long time. As he and company are getting some line changes out to the ice. And good thing that they did, because it's not an icing. It's based up And knocked down was William Carrier. Fans are calling for a penalty. That is no arm up is in the air as Yerby Lozon is tied up at the far corner. One Hurricane lost his stick, now gets it back. That was William Carrier. Sissons places behind for Shea Theodore. Theodore on a long pass. This is played backwards to Lozon. Now to the far side. Moving this in is one of the nicest. Nikisha backhanded this one away. Gostisbehere bounces this one up. Collected up by Ehlers. Moving down in with speed is Gostisbehere. Fed back over towards the far side for Jankowski. Jankowski around. Cannot play this further. Ehlers arrives. And forces this one towards the near half boards. It was a nice get shoved towards the near half boards. Whistle blown here. There's gonna be a penalty.
Tomas Hertl is going to get a tripping call.
2 minutes for tripping, and it's easier said than done, but a power play would normally mean a grade A chance to end the game. But let's remember, 1, these 2 penalty kills have been excellent, and 2, Carolina scored on the power play on their last go.
Boys, you take it, Alec. I'm going to have some fun in post-game. Take it away.
All right, here we go. It is Staal, Aho, Jarvis, Metcalf, and Gostisbehere against the 4-man unit of Sissons, Staal, Eichel, and Theodore. They're going to have to sub out one of the forwards for one of the defensemen. Lozon's on the ice. Eichel's out. So Lozon is in the place of Jack Eichel. Eichel's on the bench. The Hurricanes are 1 for 3 on the man advantage. They won each game 2 in overtime. Fed for Aho, one-timer, he fed on it. Bouncing puck in front, a baseball swing, smack the come. Another save by Hart. And then you get this out. 10 seconds killed off in the Hertl penalty. It is Freddie Andersen who plate is behind. Svechnikov waits. It'll be Gostisbehere saying this up. Ehlers is on the ice. Seth Jarvis will set up. Here's Nikolai Ehlers. The speedster moving it up. Svechnikov on the left circle. Back is Aho. Aho steps into it on the right circle. Gets it back from Ehlers. Aho, he'll wait. Back for Gostisbehere as he walks the point. Gostisbehere, one-timer Jarvis. He scores! Seth Jarvis evens the series. And Carolina is 13-2.
Bang! There is your overtime jackpot winner. I took Seth Jarvis. Yeah, I know it's easy to do because it's the first line. Ian's got Gostisbehere with an assist. Boys, we cooked there as this goes toward the left side dot. It was a beautiful bomb there for Jarvis just underneath the right pad of Carter Hart. And we got a 1-1 series.
Wow. I don't know what Carolina, I don't know what adjustments Brind'Amour or whoever's coaching the power play made for those last two, but whatever they did, it worked.
It's asking what we've been asking for all damn day is shoot the puck, make things happen. And boy, oh boy, did they do that. They finally put some pressure on Carter Hart. Yes, it took the third period, but you got to be proud of these boys because, look, we could have said a heck of a lot in this post game in terms of, hey, if Vegas takes a 2-0 lead, Freddie Andersen might be bye-bye at least for a game. But he was able to stand up tall when his team needed it in the third, make some key saves. Who knows if Barbashev got messed up on that and should have been a goal. But it wasn't. Then Carolina comes back and responds. Yes, you got something from Mark Stone, but you don't hang your head. You come back out there, you get a key power play off the stick from Tomas Hertl and Seth Jarvis. That top line, big reason why they won that game today. Beautiful stuff.
And admittingly, it was the top line. We were talking about the top line needing to produce in key moments. Svechnikov did it in Game 3 at the Montreal series. This time it's Jarvis doing it in Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final. And he blasted top of the circle. We were talking about how what play would like to make is that Carolina would like to set up more cross-ice one-timers on the power play. And guess how this game was won on?
Yeah.
Cross-ice one-timer on the power play. Bingo.
And again, Alec, I don't want to be hyperbolic here, but I want to hammer home this point again. everything I said initially, I think stands up to the test of time. Because if Carolina goes down 0-2, we have a much different conversation. Now you can kind of keep everything the same in terms of all of your lines you manufacture to get what you need done, and Carolina's right where they wanted to be. But Vegas can say what they want. We split, we did what we needed to do, they go back home, but you can also say this, it's why I kept it the glass half full approach. Carolina could play much better, they did, they found a way to win. Vegas kind of shot themselves in the foot in that third period, didn't they, with some uncharacteristic mistakes. Some turnovers goes in the back of their net, and now instead of being up 2-0, it's 1-1.
Well, how about that sign that we just saw, John? Welcome to Harvard University to Seth Jarvis as he's interviewed by Emily Kaplan. But I love the shout out to Jarvis. Oh, what's Iron Man going to say now?
Can't say much. Again, everybody was able to respond in kind. And you know what? I think from the first, you could say it honestly. I know we're not in the room. But you know these guys look at themselves as a man to a T. Look yourselves in the mirror and know that you can play better. And they did.
Oh, yes. A lot better compared to game one. Defense was better. Offense was better. Getting takeaways was better. It was like Carolina got better as the game progressed.
Sure did.
This has to be kept up for a full 60-minute effort heading into game 3 at Vegas. And 8 straight playoff overtime victories. That's now the longest streak in franchise history.
Well, I can make sure I can mark that down in my notes here before we get going. But, boys, we got a series on our hands. We got 2 games that have been, I think this one more so than the last one, not because of the Carolina one, was an instant classic, because this felt more like a playoff game when the first one kind of felt like a scrimmage. But lots and lots of goals. So if you love scoring, apparently, from these 2 defensive teams, then you found the right series. This has been a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait for game 3 on Saturday when we get to cover this. Oh, man. And all the apologies to the 2 NASCAR drivers, the natives of Las Vegas who were attendants to this, Noah Gragson and Riley Hurts. But it's an even series heading to Las Vegas. Anything before we wrap this up, boys?
I'm ready to go for Saturday. I'm expecting, again, now the reverse, Vegas cleaning up on some of those mistakes, and then we'll keep an eye on Braden McNabb and his availability.
You know, this has the makings of being one of the all-time series.
Right now it does, Ian.
Stanley Cup Finals history.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, baby. This has gotten a lot more interesting, so we'll keep an eye out. Carolina wins 4-3 in overtime in game 2. This is an even series. And as we shift over to Las Vegas, we'll wait the status update on Brayden McNabb as we get to T-Mobile Arena. Alongside John Adi and Genge, I am Alec Nava saying good night from Lenovo Center.
Take care, guys.
First alert weather. We know Michigan weather.
Site plan stalled.
Ellen Park data center proposal.
Well, we had a excellent game, and it ended up being what you thought it would be. Maybe not as many goals, but holy cow, was that fun to watch. And I'll see you guys back on Saturday. You take care, all right? Peace. Carolina wins it.